Just make sure that here we go. Too Fast Too Feef. All right, I think we're live. What's up?
Yo,
So, dude.
dude. Do we get
Oh,
the
dude.
link? Do we get the link posted on
Yeah. Let me. I always just do that though, because there's always some fucking people who get in here fast as fuck. Like before I can even finish setting up, there's people in here. I'm like, no, get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Don't leave. I'm copying the link right now. I just want to make sure I had everything good to go. All right, stream feedback and announcements. Too fast. I should have put a 2, like the number 2. That was my mistake. That was a bit of a fail, huh? But that's okay. It's only a fail if you admit to it, right? Otherwise,
Would it be
it's just a
Too Fast to Feef? I believe it's supposed to be the number 2, but that's okay.
Just wait for people to get in here. Make sure we got it.
There we go. Hold on. Let me unmute your business here.
Yeah, can
I
you
don't know
hear
why it's
everything
muted.
okay? How's your volume? How's everything? Is everything working?
Yeah, everything's working just fine.
Did you switch around my setup? Oh no, I just have my other keyboard covered today. Usually I fuck around like the nice keyboard, but today I'm not. Today I'm just vibing.
It is. Bro's hitting us with the Novation keyboard.
Yeah, dude, this is the keyboard that I used for like 7 years before I got the real keyboard.
Oh, I gave my old keyboard away. I passed it on to someone who needed it.
I should do that. But
Yeah.
honestly, I shouldn't
Also,
because I use this for VJing. Like, I use all the knobs and shit for like visual mixing. So, yeah.
why are you not using the new
Oh, I
voice?
feel like my feedback won't be useful. I feel like my
Nah,
feedback would be skewed.
you'll enjoy it a lot more if you use the new voice.
Are you sure? Should I use
I'm
these?
sure.
I should pull
Yeah.
them back out again. Dino said he's coming
Look at
to
this, guys.
Beyond because he loves Rhythm. Dude, Poyo, how did you know that Dino loves Rhythm? I was telling him that like 5 minutes before we started streaming. I was like, Dino, why do you love Rhythm so much? And
So look here, boys.
and he was just so
Magduet
excited.
has invested in Feef now. He has gotten higher quality headphones specifically for Feefing.
Oh yeah, dude, it's not for making music. Music kind of sucks. Making music sucks
No,
especially.
those are music consuming headphones, not music producing headphones for sure.
That's not what the internet said. Did I get lied to on the internet? Fuck. I mean, I know that's
Yeah,
kind
I
of like a
think you
common.
did.
That's kind of like a common occurrence, but I didn't know it was that common. I didn't know like it was gonna happen to me like that. All right, Dino. You're probably right. I should get used to them.
Yeah, you should also probably get a new cable
Why?
as soon as you can. From what I understand, the cable on those is like not good. And from my experience with my own hi-fi mins in the past, when I upgraded the cable, it was like a way better experience.
Well, no. So the reason why
But
I can see why people say they suck. Hang on, I won't be able to hear you for a second, but I'll just keep, talking. Yeah, the reason why I think it sucks is because it's short. But I have an extender, so I'm not really worried about it. But I can see why people would be upset. Because yeah, like it's a short cable. It's a really short cable. All right.
no, they say it's something phonic where when you scratch it, you can hear it through the headphone. And then also the gauge on the cable is not very good.
Okay, well, so far I haven't experienced that, but I did just get it, so
Yeah.
there's that. Fuck, this cable is so long, dude. My fucking
But
My
That
Audio
15-foot
Technica
cable.
cable, dude, it's the longest one that's in the box, and it's so long.
Look at this. I have,
It's fucking like
how
4
long
feet
is,
long.
it's 4 feet long.
Look at this.
That's
More
no,
than that.
that's like 15. That's the same length as this one,
Yeah, it's so silly.
right?
It's so silly.
They are 2 arm spans, and I'm a little bit less than 6 foot, so it's like what, 11 feet,
Yeah,
something like that.
it's too long.
3 meters, we'll call it.
All right. But yeah, we've
Yeah, Audio
upgraded the
Technicas are
headphones.
wild.
We're now cool.
He did it specifically for Feef, boys.
Yeah, I did it for you all. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so my
He has no
ears could be
intention of using him.
blessed
No
in
intention of
hi-fi.
using him aside from Feef.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us on this fine evening. Sorry for that bit of a
Yap session.
yeah, this yap sesh, cable setup management sesh. Fucking
We promise we'll make it up to you by being very fast with our Feef tonight. It is, after all, too fast, too Feef.
too fast, too feet. Yeah. That is
Sticking
great.
with our new Feef tradition.
Yeah, and look, I've even got a tea steeper that is a rubber ducky that steeps my tea.
Hey,
So yeah, it's pretty vibey. We're vibing hard tonight, lads. All right, well, I guess to start us off, we have the G himself. I like his new I guess, what is it technically called? The new alias. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his new persona, the combo, the collab persona is flexing. All right, so we got Tear Out Tino. I see what he did there. Part 2, Twins of Dissonance.
Is this the same track as last week with the changes made to it, or is this a new track?
I can't tell. It looks new though because of the waveform. Is it?
But
Is it new?
it was named Tear Out Tino last week too. But this
Is it
is
old?
part 2.
Maybe this is just the second half. Oh, okay, dude, it is the second half. Let's go. All right, word. Well, okay, well, let's embark upon this journey, shall we, lads?
We are the Twins of Dissonance. Psych bitches!
Damn. Wow. Okay. So I'm just gonna speed around these questions real quick because I don't have much to say about this track in a good way. I will say this, first of all, just play any section of the drop, and I want everyone to look at the waveform in the bottom right-hand corner of that screen. That is what your waveforms are supposed to look like, guys. Okay? Just saying. Okay, should the call basses, long boys be crispier? I've had it mentioned to me that they don't cut through enough, which I'll concur. You can try cutting them through more with like ring mod sidechain, but I think this is really well mixed in my opinion. Um, let's tag team each question. Go ahead.
All right, sorry about that. I'm here. Hello. No, so I was just gonna say we're tag teaming this, but also he's right. The mix down is clean, like the mix down's totally fine. But I
Could be a
think
little
that
more could be a little more frequency separated though. You could have a little more space between the elements, I think.
I
But that
f-
again,
well, like
everything being glued might be a genre convention. I don't know.
well,
Something with
like
genre.
I think that you and I might be able to feel this way similarly about this. Like the top end of the bases feels slightly like blurred is probably the best word that I can use to describe it. Like it's slightly misty or smoothed. And I don't know if you're using like some sort of a reverb or some sort of like a timbral smoothness that's happening. But yeah, I feel
I
like if
guess
you can get that
I could see that.
crispier, that's like the only thing that I can think of as far as crispier that comes to mind. But mix wise, I think it's sitting perfectly. But it's just timbrally. There's a slight blurriness to the high frequencies of your sound design. So that's my opinion on that.
All right.
But yeah.
So I'm gonna address number two after because I don't know what you mean by the four on the floor fake out. If you mean the build into the first drop of this piece, then I don't know how to answer that question. So I'm gonna let you answer that question in chat while I address number three. Did I do well with making it loud while maintaining overall clarity? Going back to what Magda said about having it kind of like slice through a little bit better. Um, I just feel like if you had everything like a little more in its own space, kind of like just sitting in its own pocket, and I don't mean pocket in the timing sense. I mean like frequency pockets. That could make it a little bit better. I did have to turn it up, which is strange because it was metering at like 4.7 lufs. Um, and I'll probably end up turning my system down a little after. So I don't know what's going on there because I do have like I don't change Magdude's stream at all when I do this. So we'll have to see how the next track goes, but I'll probably end up turning it down. So it was objectively it's not a quiet track, right? I don't think that could be said about it. So we're gonna have to investigate that. But Magda, do you want to Oh, everything is run through the same reverb. Yeah, cut that shit out. No OTT on the master, bro. That was
That was so last week. All right. That was so
Yeah.
last week. All right. No, but
You want to
yeah, continue with
you
what
want to
you're
address
saying.
question? No. Address question three,
No,
please.
yeah, so I feel like you did a great job. This is like a super clear mix. Like the kicks are coming through clean, the snares are coming through clean. I love that there's still high end information in the drums. Like all that stuff is great. I feel like even your basses are mixed well. Like the mid bass is mixed well. You have, like I said, like I still just think that reverb is like it's a dangerous game. Okay, most of the time when I'm doing something stereo oriented, I actually avoid reverb on the mids for the most part, just because when I put it on there, I have found that it brings that clarity and that like kind of visceralness of the high end, and it takes that away a little bit. Like the more reverb you put on, the more that takes it away. But even having it there at all, it's like you're already taking it away. So my recommendation, not that you have to do this, would be to try and investigate some other means of making things stereo. There's a lot of other ways to add stereo information to your bass other than reverb, and I would
Chorusing,
explore that.
maybe.
Yeah, chorusing works great. Flanging, even phasing, like using phasers.
Yeah.
And again, this is all on the
Just,
high
just,
end.
just a touch though.
Oh yeah, once again, super teeny tiny little amounts.
3 to 5%, just enough to widen it.
Exactly.
Right.
And you could even use things like now I don't do this personally, so I can't like say that I do it in my workflow, but you can even use things like Imager or, a widening tool like that. Probably not, I don't really use wider. I wouldn't recommend Polyverse wider either, but yeah, Imager is free. Imager 2 is free. You can use like anything like that. I think really helps. But yeah, I would avoid using reverb on the mid basses.
You heard it here first, boys. Don't use wider, aka the phase machine.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, and it was a cool thing back in like what 2010 or something or 12, but it's 2025, so no one uses that.
What about the infected mushroom wider, the
That
other phase machine?
that is the one. That's Polyverse
Oh,
wider.
that's
That is
it.
the one. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess it's
Okay.
infected mushroom, but he made it with Polyverse. Anyway, it's it's the same thing.
All
So,
right.
but yeah, the second
All
question.
right.
So the four on the floor is
And then
the boom,
I don't
boom, boom, bomb.
I don't know what, because with me, rhythm always four on the floor, right?
I
Isn't
mean,
rhythm always four on the floor?
yeah, I mean, if you're saying when you hit the kicks like on every downbeat, that's like not a problem. That's pretty standard
Uh,
in
Yeah,
that's pretty
tear out
standard in
rhythm.
this style, honestly.
Yeah,
So if you're worried about the kicks on every downbeat like that, I didn't even notice it as being a bad thing. You know,
me
it didn't
either.
like stick out. So
Yeah, I couldn't even pick up that it was there or not there. But yeah, great track,
still
Freef.
fire,
I
dude. Fuck,
really,
we starting
yeah,
off with that, dude. Fuck, I feel
yeah.
bad for everybody else. I'm just kidding.
Just just add modern talking and you're good. Well, who's next? Let's see who has to follow that up.
Yeah. No, I'm
Rav.
memeing. Yo, Twan, that's fire though, dude. That was like the cleanest mix down I think I've heard from you. So then again, I hope it's not just the headphones. I feel like the headphones are gonna fuck with me for like a good week here.
Yeah. Speaking of being wider, how stereo was that track there?
What on the
Yeah.
headphones?
Yeah. Well, I gotta see who in here. Oh, Justice put a track in. His stuff's usually pretty stereo. Scriptronic stuff's usually pretty stereo. Yeah, we'll see.
Why am I supposed to not
Yeah.
be able to notice it as easily or notice it more?
Oh no, it's supposed to be a huge soundstage with those headphones. Supposed to be like out to here.
It does feel that way. It's actually really quite fascinating. Anyway, yeah, thank you, dude. Thank you, Twan. On to the next gang member. We got Ravana with Lothric. Lothric? I'm going to go with Lothric. Oh, and I've got the Sundaras, Jest. Sundara Hi-Fi Men, I think. Hi-Fi Men? Yeah. They're basically the budget Audis LCDs. That's what they are. Anyway. That was funny. You can see there's more to this song than I originally thought. I was like, there's more. But wait, there's more.
Oh wait, there's more.
Yeah, wow. Great questions too. Look at these great questions. I didn't notice anything wrong tuning wise. I thought that was so cool. I don't know. The melodic journey there was awesome. Like I didn't notice anything bad.
Yeah, the Reese didn't feel. That was not my problem with the low end. Was the Reese's tuning? I did have a few problems with the low end. It just felt a little muddy at times, especially with the kick. Maybe
That's
I wouldn't
true.
increase the side. I wouldn't increase the side chain of the Reese into the kick. I would decrease the tail of the kick.
Yeah, it's like the kick's too thumpy, right? Like it's too beef.
Yeah,
like not enough
there's too much
snap.
There's too much to it. I recently saw a mixing advice online that said only the kick and the bass should be under 100, which is off top, right? But then only one element beyond that should be below 50. And my argument usually is below like 40, but I could definitely see this as them like kind of being too like, I don't know. There's too much going on down there when the kick is going.
Yeah,
How's the
my mind
percussion doing?
immediately went.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. My mind went immediately to a resonant language kick is like a good place to start, or like something that's
This is
like
just a short zappy boy,
yeah.
but not so much zap. Just a like a short knock or something would be my go-to for a track like this. But that's me. All right, and then is that? Oh, you addressed it first. Go ahead. So next one's you.
So is the snare selection matching with the rest of the track? I mean, here's my opinion on snares. I think that first of all, you could get away with multiple snares, you know, like you don't have to stick with like the same snare through the whole song. But I felt like the snare that you chose was good. It's just that there are moments where I think so like you have a pretty long snare. I think if you did a similar thing with the kick, with the snare that we're talking about with the kick, like just basically tighten up the drums a little bit more in general. I think that that's just like a nice feeling for these sorts of songs. Cause then you give more room for like everything else, which I think is like the star here. So I don't know. I think it sounded good, but you could get away with like maybe not so much distorted acoustic snare, but like just a snappier, maybe more transient-y, less taily snare. That's my thought though. But yeah, what about you, Dino?
The snare really never popped out to me. It did feel a little bit crunchy at times and maybe too drawn out. So again, maybe too much tail on it. I don't know if you're putting like reverb on there or something, but maybe just a shorter. And again, don't increase the side chain, reduce the tail, make it snappier. Would be my advice on that. So yeah.
Yeah, that was still a cool snare though. So it's like hard to say like, I don't know. I definitely don't think you should get rid of the snare. But maybe like add a different snare at different points in the song. How's the percussion doing? Does it tickle the high end enough, or should I fill it out a little bit more? Hang on, let me just do a quick. You could probably push that a little bit more. Like I wouldn't even change the arrangement of it. I would just say like do a little bit of saturation to it, or the whole drum bus even, or you could also just do like a little bit of a longer reverb or like a more present reverb, or you could of course just turn up the volume of it, see which one of those work. But those are all my thoughts. What about you, Dino?
It feels quiet and it feels a little empty. Like I feel like there could be, because from what it sounds like, can you again play just a section?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like you just have hi-hats, kick, and snare. Which, I mean, where are my toms? Where are my snaps? Where are my sticks, my clicks, and my clacks?
I think it's fine if you have that though, but you have to like break that
even
up.
then, even then the hi-hat doesn't feel loud enough. It feels like it's not cutting through enough.
Would you say that it's because it's too long or not transient-y enough as well? Because I feel like it's a little bit too ridey when it could be benefit. It could benefit being like a like a little kind of
I just feel like it could cut through a little bit more and be a little more spicy. If that means putting a transient shaper on there and boosting the transient, then yeah, maybe.
I would say honestly, just because everything feels like the drums are slightly subdued in the track, I would say you should add some saturation to this drum bus. But that's just me.
That would
That's just my thing.
bypassing the snare and the kick, though, maybe, possibly, or
Well,
bypassing the kick.
you kind of want the kick and the snare to fuck up the drum bus a little bit. Like, you know what I mean? You want the kick and the snare to like give it a little bit of a, not a lot, right? You don't really want to like notice it for a long time, but I would say that if you saturate the whole bus together ever so slightly, once again, super, 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 super subtle amount, it's going to benefit your whole song. Because it's going to add frequencies when it's like not activating when the kick is and snare is happening, but then it's also going to like make the kick and snare like affect everything else, which I find is like really nice. Like it makes it just more punchy without solely relying on sidechain and sample selection. But yeah. Plus, I've been watching a shit ton of Cursa, and he does that all the time. Even just a little bit. Like, you don't need to go crazy. I'm not saying, like, fucking throw amp on there. I'm just saying, like, you know, a tape saturator, really, really subtly, you know, flexing.
So, but Magnet, the real question is could the drum groove be a little looser? The Reese is kind of messy with the way it moves, so I don't know if the drums should tie in with that. What do you think?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you basically have to pick one or the other, right? Like, if you're doing that. I don't know. I still feel like the drums matter more than anything else. So they can happen at the same time, but you got to really sidechain that Reese out of the way. I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like.
So,
what were you gonna say? Sorry.
go ahead. No, sorry.
No, I was just gonna. I was just basically my final thought there is, if you're gonna have a Reese bass, try not to make it during like a busy section of the song, because then you can get away with less drums, and then it's fine. But I don't know if that really works here. That's a pretty big arrangement change.
So, in the before time, before sidechain compression was really popular, or people had the capability to do it, I'm talking like the before DAW in a box stuff, right?
Right.
What a lot of D&B and original garage artists would do is they would have their kick and their snare, and then an eighth beat after, they would kick in their bass, right? A Reese in specific is what they would do this with. And like you can, if you just open up whatever DAW you're in and you do like a kick and a Reese, you can really hear like that's that iconic drum and bass sound. It's like, you know. I feel like if you're gonna be loose with the drums, and for something like this, maybe you want to hand play it in with the drums, and then come back later and then hand play the recent, like. But you have to have like a real constant. There needs to be I don't know, a loose drum groove is a really, like Magno said, is a really huge change to loosen that up. And it depends on whether you're working in audio or if you're working in like a track sequencer or something. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a personal taste thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think looseness in drum grooves is like such a subjective thing. Like it's not really objective at all. So it's hard to be objective about it.
For me personally, I would keep the kick and the snare tight as possible, and then loosen up everything else around it, right? Or if you're gonna have like a loose snare, make your snare loose early though, right? But always have your kick on the downbeat, always.
Like, well, the first kick, like yeah, you can have like some other weird little kicks in between somewhere. That's okay, but yeah, you're right. Always on the downbeat.
Yeah, the downbeat kick needs to be quantized as a motherfucker, and everything else like that could also create like an entrancing cyclic, like dynamic to your track, which I know is something that probably matters to you just by the nature of the tracks you've submitted before. That's like a vibe you're going for. It's kind of like that. You know, like cyclical trance type stuff. Not trance music. You get what I'm saying. So yeah, that's an idea. But Magnet, you wanna hit
does the
the?
low end and low mids of the Reese being a bit muddy work for this track? If I need to clean it up, how do I even go about doing that with such a complex and convoluted patch? So, I don't think it was that bad. It was noticeable, but it was not as noticeable as the kick drum. So like maybe once you fix
It
the
wasn't the
kick,
Reese making things muddy.
yeah, once you fix the kick, it'll be easier to answer this question. But in my opinion, I would say that it didn't feel that bad. If you really are worried about it, the one thing you can do is try cutting out the low mids section of your kick drum like aggressively, and then basically just seeing if that fixes it. And if there's still buildup there, then you can always just take another EQ to your Reese. But you should avoid that if possible. So yeah, but cutting out the low mids of your kicks is something I don't see a lot of people do, and it's nice. You should try it because it's an easy place for information to build up there, and like you don't need it in a kick. You really just need the sub and the transient. So the low mid information's kind of just whatever. But yeah, that's my opinion. What do you think? What do you think, Dino? I don't know if that answers the question. I hope it does.
I think it kind of does. I agree. Once you clean up the kick, yeah. So the idea behind a Reese is that it is muddy. Like that's the whole point of the Reese, right? Is that it's got this like gnarly, like something's not quite right about it in the low end. And the way you achieve that with a Reese is by having like slight detunes across the. But aside from that, you want it to be a little fucked up for a Reese, at least, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think the Reese is. I don't think the Reese is the problem in the low end with this track. There is, like, this is just how I produce things. I feel like frequency separation is going to be a hot topic for me tonight. I'm on that kick right now, I guess. Just do extended band passes on everything and give everything its space and just really tighten up where it sits. And so there used to be a picture that floated around on the fucking internet. That had like where you're supposed to. Here we go. Here we go. Let me just send this to Mag. Do it real quick.
Yep. I'll pull it up.
If you imagine each one of these instruments sitting in its own band pass, like on a bell curve or something, then like, that would be a.
There we go.
Yeah.
So
like each one of these things, and this is not directed to you at all, Rav. This is just general mixing advice for the Peanut Gallery, right? Because I think the rest of your track is pretty well mixed. It's just that low end. But like if you imagine each one of those things sitting in its own bandpass frequency, and then the way they all slot together, like that's a really quick and easy way to make sure your track comes clear on most systems. Right. And again, this is not directed towards you. This is just general mix advice for the people in the back. You know? And look, it comes from Future Music. Crazy.
Heck yeah.
So
no, this is a nice picture to understand where things should exist. Or where they might already exist if you didn't know,
Right. So, and then it shows like, yeah. I like the way it has like the range of where stuff sits, but then like where the actual image of the thing is where it like really. Can we get that in prod talk so I can save it? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
and I remember seeing
I'll drop that in there now. Oh, you got it. No, I already have it saved, and I even named it. Hang on, what did I call it?
I just control V'd that motherfucker in there.
Okay, word. I named it General Mixing Advice for the Peanut Gallery. That's what
yeah. There you go.
So yeah, no, but no, that's such a great picture. It's very helpful to know. Like I haven't seen this before, so I didn't even know this existed.
I want to say the first time I saw this photo was, it's from 2010. I had this. This was my desktop background on my production computer back then.
Like, he was trying to get good at music. He didn't know how much of a star he'd be. He's flexing too hard. He's flexing too hard, dude. Jeez, no, that's
anyway. Do the intro and break plucks need more dynamics? What do you think? What do you think, Mac? Dude?
Let me do a quick listen. I don't think so. I think they're okay. They're kind of drowned out by the ambience a little bit, just a little bit. I think it's less about them being more dynamic and the ambience being a little bit less forward, just a bit. Like, yeah, maybe cut out some frequencies of it, just so it's like a little bit less full. Because I get it, it's a cool ambience, but yeah, that's my opinion. So my short answer is no, it's just kind of hard to feel the dynamics because of the ambience, I think. What about you? What about you, Dino? What are you thinking?
Put a nice transient hit at the very beginning of the track, and this is really easy to mix in for a DJ. Especially if you have the rest of the track time coded really well. This makes it super easy. These nice washed out ambient intros make it super easy to mix into a break from another track. I think it's perfect.
That's true.
The low pass filter, sorry, the high pass filter on a DJM will carry this. It's not that much of an issue. If that's your intended audience is to have a DJ play it out on stage, or if you plan on playing it yourself, then this is 100% okay. And then obviously for the brain rot TikTok core kids, like just don't even have it on, whatever, like Club Edit or some shit. I don't know how you call it. But yeah.
It's the
And then
Riz
I'm just
edit,
gonna,
all right?
yeah, the Rizzler edit.
The Rizzler
And,
edition.
and then I'm just gonna jump to the last question. I couldn't hear the Flutter synth that much at all. It was lost.
Let me listen.
Towards the end. You hear it in the high end?
Yeah, I hear it. I would say it's
if you didn't write that as a question, I wouldn't even know it was in the track.
yeah, which means it's probably good, right? Like it makes because you don't want too many instruments happening at one time, so it doesn't create that problem, which is good.
So here's the next piece of mixing advice for everybody that's questioning, like, are things too loud or not loud enough? What you do is you take a pink noise generator, you put it in your track, and then you mix everything to the level of the pink noise, and then that's it. That's your jumping off point, and then you fine tune after that, and that will make everything the same-ish.
Or you could reference.
Let's hear it. You could reference, yeah.
Because some music is like fucking weird, but people like it, and it might be what you like. So it's like, But you're not wrong. Honestly, that shape is such a. I don't know if you've seen. I'm sure you know who AU5 is, but he talks about that a lot. And obviously he's
pink
skilled.
noise?
Yeah, the pink noise being
mixing?
like the foundation, like the grounding element to your mixing decision making. I guess mastering too.
It's the shape is what pink noise makes.
Right.
Makes
yeah,
the shape. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a good.
Anyway,
that's a good idea. But
yeah, I really like this. I really like this, Rav. Main takeaways for me: tighten up the transients or tighten up the tails on your tracks. Maybe put a transient shaper in some places. And then, like Magda said, a little bit of saturation here and there, like 2 to 5% max, like just to tickle and sizzle. Everything else, though, like I think if you just tighten up some of the tails, that'll clean up a lot of the problems.
Yes, indeed. Flexing, Rav. Flexing.
Very flex. Bro goes to the gym. That's how hard he flexed.
Oh yeah, dude. He's that who's the guy at the beach in SpongeBob who's like ripped? Larry the Lobster.
Larry the Lobster, yeah.
Rav is going full on. He's living like Larry, on God.
All right. I'm counting on you, Jest, to have put in a soundscape track. Soundstage track, sorry.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out in a moment here.
He's-
I have my headphones on backwards, so that's probably not helpful. Bro, when I heard, so like, it took me till like halfway through the song. I guess more than that, but I like I heard this one thing that was like in the right ear, but it was like going left on my mini meters, and I was like, what the fuck is that, dude?
Oh, mine is flipped anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that bandpass saw, which should probably be in the center. Um, it was on the right side for me, which is I guess the left, because my thing is flipped. I should probably fix that.
Yeah, that's
actually.
what I just did. I just fixed mine, so
um, yeah, trying to figure out this master thing. Are there any real harsh sounds, i.e., drums that kill the soundscape? Trying to get it right so I can mix it. So my first piece of advice with the drums is one of those two snares should probably be quieter than the other. And I would imagine it's the lead in snare because it feels like the second snare is the one that happens on the upbeat, and then the first one is a pre-snare. It could be the other way around. I don't know. But yeah, that was a really good track there. Let me just moderate this. Yeah, the vocal did feel a little bit harsh. The not the ambient vocal, but the actual main vocal came in a little bit too loud in comparison to everything else. Either everything else needs to be louder or that needs to be quieter. But that's the only stuff that, as far as like the mixing that really jumped out to me. And aside from that saw needing to be kind of more centered. If you want, let me just read my notes here real quick. Female vocals or whatever, the high pitch vocals, they come in hot. Main whisper vox, whatever you call them. Bandpass saw should start centered. Maybe you can ping pong the high on them if you want to. You can do the stereo on the high, but the actual main element should come from the center. And then the chords are pretty nice throughout the whole track. But yeah, go ahead, Mr. Magda, if you want to hit question one. I feel like you have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, there was this one moment. Listen to this S. That S hurts.
That's really hot.
That S hurts my ears. All right, definitely get a little de-esser on that bad boy, because that is not good. But apart from that, I really liked pretty much everything else. I'm trying to think of what else stuck out to me as like really crispy. I don't think anything was like. Yeah, I think that lead pan, that thing should be more centered. I agree with Dino. What is it? I feel like the kick is a bit buried. I don't know. I feel like it could be like a little bit more forward in the mix. The snares are, I agree with Dino as well. They're pretty good, but they're also like. I don't know if I like the reverb cutting out the way that it is.
You're not a fan of the gated verb?
It's a little bit too alien for me, but like, so my opinion is like, if you're going to go like really alien with it, like go all the way. And I feel like this is like like you're trying something acousticy, but then like it feels alien. Whereas like I would just go one way or the other. So either change it so that the gate at the end of the reverb is like a little bit more like subtle, just because it's super obvious, or do the opposite and like make the snare feel less organic and more like fucking inorganic.
May I interject for a moment?
Yeah, those are just my thoughts.
So I don't like where Magno's going here. Put a reverb. Keep the gated reverb on the snare, okay? If that's even what it is. But the reverb slicing out is generally known as a gated reverb, because they put a gate on the reverb that is triggered by the snare itself, and so that when the snare ends, the reverb ends. Anyway, put a reverb after the gated reverb at a lesser amount for a longer decay time and see what that does. I'm curious. I have an idea of how that would sound and how that would look in a waveform. I'm getting the feeling it sounds super fucking weird. And just try it. If it works, use it. If it doesn't, don't. I don't
'Cause-
know.
but yeah,
So
like
that might be some tech that I check out myself after this stream. You
I
know?
don't mind the snare though. Like the snare timbre is fine. It's just like I'm expecting a more natural space cuz like then it feels more I think in line with the rest of the arrangement. Like the arrangement's wanting me to like it feels like they're trying to bring me into a very like atmospheric feeling and by having the gated reverb for me it's like pulling me out of that feeling. Um but yeah,
Maybe
no, the
that could be
biggest
the maybe that could be the intended effect though.
it's true. It's true. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what's happening. And I don't know if I like it. All right, all right. But I will say, I really did like all the sound design and the sound selection and the arrangement of said sounds. So it's like,
Yeah, it's really, really clever use of some very difficult to use samples. I recognize those sample packs like immediately. They are not easy to use. You use them really well. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, and then okay. So how's the layering and sounds? Do they maintain clarity more so? I think Magduit just addressed that pretty well. And then we have that graph that we sent earlier. I'm not sure how that would work with some of the sounds you've selected. You're gonna have to be a little like maybe I guess you could follow the you could do like a dynamic EQ thing where or like a I don't know, just soothe, follow, like the just the does the band pass follow with soothe? Is that something that does?
what do you mean? Like the
So let's say you have a like a sweep going, right?
yeah,
Like let's say like a band pass saw wave, for
yeah.
example,
Oh,
hypothetically.
does it follow that
Okay.
resonant fundamental the whole way through?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Can it?
absolutely. Yes,
Yeah. So
100%.
something like that on all these sweeps that you have going could help clean that up a little.
Or you could do what that
Um
one guy in that video did. You remember? I don't know if you've seen this video. It's like a meme or whatever on Instagram, but he's like playing guitar and he's like dynamically automating the EQ with his mouse. You could just do that, right? Like,
yeah.
but then it'd
So
be
I think that could go a far way, and then also if you put a little bit of delay on some of those sounds, because you said you're trying to go for a dream state kind of thing. I can automate with a follower, but I could try Soothe or ProQ. Yeah, either of those will work.
yeah. I find Soothe to
Um,
be better for that personally.
yeah,
But ProQ because ProQ4 you're gonna have to still automate, whereas Soothe just it definitely gets it. But yeah.
yeah. And then did I have a good week? No, I'm still fat, broke, and angry. So you know,
Damn.
no,
Damn.
I had a fine week. I'm actually making quite a bit of progress on cleaning up my environment here. I got rid of the dual screens. Those are gone. I gave them to my brother. So those are my you can't really see too much in here. Yeah, that helped.
So what,
So
you
I
just
used to
have one
have
screen?
no, now I have two screens that I'm not using, plus the laptop screen that I'm on right now, and then I have a few other screens floating around the house. I will get rid of them all eventually. Or I'll plug them into the laptop. I don't know yet. I haven't decided. But yeah, my week's been going okay. How about you, Magda? How's your week been?
Um Good. Busy, but good. Yeah. I guess it's not bad being busy. So yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
I see
complain.
I see you put a shelf up in the background there.
Yeah, it's got some fun stuff on there. I've got my little
Yeah.
mushroom man that Carmen made me. I've
Yeah.
got some stuff. I have some sake Japanese drinking things that I'm probably never gonna use.
I was gonna say.
But they're my grandma's. My grandma gave it to me before she died, so yeah, that's why they're there because I love my grandma. And let's see here, what else? Got
Excited to hear the drums. Oh, the drums I've been working on. Yeah, yeah. I'm cooking up some hot tech with drums. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, yeah, no, but week's going great. I've been drinking tea recently a lot. I have a nice, cool little cup, little Deems cup. You know,
That's what this was. I have a bunch of citrus trees in my backyard. Like almost 30. And right now it's citrus season. So I have oranges and lemons and mandarins. You know the little cuties they sell in the grocery store for like way
That's
too much.
so fucking. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I'm
I cut
jealous.
those in half and then I squeeze them in a cup and I pour a little bit of brewed tea in there and like a teaspoon of sugar and I make my own aids. So it's nice. But anyway, yeah, good week.
But
Sounds like
yeah,
you had a good week too, Maggot.
yeah,
Nice.
dude. Yeah. And same with you, Jess.
Thank-
Hope that you're having a good week.
yeah. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you.
On to Poyonk, I believe.
All right, the square. This guy is
The square.
not a circle. All right, he's a square. All right, let's peep it.
Nice.
Yeah, Poyo is crazy. Okay, yeah, sorry, I see the questions.
Would you like to address whether the square is squaring and how he can square harder? Because
Well, the
I have
square,
thoughts and opinions on how that
same,
can be done.
same. Yeah, the square is squaring, but you know how you can square harder? You put a bit crush on something. You know, you bit crush.
I was gonna
things.
say a Foreman filter or RM,
Oh, that works too.
um,
Yeah, that's big brain.
or even wave folding, because like the way a square is actually made, it's physically impossible to actually have a square wave come out of a speaker cone. So what they do is, remember those vampire teeth that you put in your teeth as a kid? Like, and it has like the, you know, that's what a square wave is actually doing. It's actually a sine wave that's folding on itself, and so it's going and then it's oscillating and then it's going down and then it's oscillating and it's going back up and it's oscillating. So you could build your square, and that would give it more harmonics higher up the line. You can do that using RM, and then I think honestly though, just a little bit of a formant filter on your pre-existing patch would probably make it go a little bit harder for like the B section. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I already said my part, but I love bit crushes just because they're like
A bit
even
crush would
more.
go hard here.
They're like
Yeah.
even more savage than the square wave already is. So you could take this savage waveform and make it even more savage.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I would only use it in the way that Dino was thinking the formant filter could be used as like B section material or like maybe fill material, just something to like spice up the timbre progression wise. But I don't know. That's me grasping for shit because that was obviously fire. So yeah.
That was really good. I am using a phaser and a chorus for little tonal changes. Is it okay that they're random for each hit? No, it's good. It's preferred. Just make sure that if you're doing it, make sure you bounce it out so that it's the same every time. Because you'll find with randomized functions and randomized automations, that they're random and they're not always pleasant. So make sure, like, once you find it, mud pie it and repeat it in audio, which I'm sure you're probably already doing because you're a sample guy or a sample playback guy. Like, you bounce your stuff to audio a lot and then do it that way. That's a way to have it be consistent. I don't think it caused any confusion at all.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. You basically just said everything that I was thinking. Yeah, I thought it sounded great. I don't think it's like not jarring, and yeah, but I do agree with what Dino's saying. Like, you can, especially if they're things that have a rate that is higher than 0. Obviously, if these things are not moving, then you're fine. But most of the time, yeah, choruses and phasers are moving. So yeah, facts.
And then at what point does it become boring? Is there enough sounds and flow to keep it moving? I don't think it's boring at all. It even though it is repeating itself, it's not repeating itself so much to where it's like, oh fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't play it 3 times in a row. But I don't play any track 3 times in a row. So yeah. And then also, if you do like an A B section, you could probably even do like an ABC. You have A is how it is right now, B section with the big crush, the formant, the RM, or some sort of other modulation on the low end. I have to agree. Maybe even bit crushing into a formant could go really hard. Because I'm thinking like a super fat UI when you're saying the bit crushing. Is that what you're
Oh
kind
yeah,
of referring to, Magda?
yeah. You know that thing where
And
like
then
you low pass into a bit crush and it kind of creates this like
yeah. And then you could further accentuate that further with how many times am I gonna say further? You could further accentuate that with a formant filter. After that, and that would make a huge B section that would be sonically the same because the notes are the same, but the timbre is a little bit different. And then you could dial that in, like have it hit like 25% wet on one hit, and then the next hit 5% wet, and the next hit 20% wet, and the next hit like 5% wet, so that it's not always the same. You could randomize basically the wet on that as well, just to have it, but make sure the downbeat's always hitting harder. Because fuck. Now I'm going to general advice again. So in college, my synth professor would tell us that like the first hit should be here, and then the next hit should be the second lowest, and then the third hit should be in the middle, and then the fourth hit should be the lowest. Right? If you're talking about like hi-hats and like just general repeating stuff. So yeah, that's how that usually goes. But yeah, no, I think that's really nice. But do you have any more to say about the flow and
I guess the only thing is for me, and this is because I'm a rhythm hater and I hate rhythm and I think rhythm's gross. No, I'm just kidding. I just don't listen to a lot of it. But what I will say is this section, I think having it be the same timbre does not tickle my ear the way I want, but I know that like rhythm's kind of like that. So I don't know. Like, I think that if you really are trying to push the boundary and like do something different, then I think that, yeah, what I was just talking about with the timbral change, like just make this section like, I'm not saying I was bored during it, but I was like not really feeling like, I don't know. This is kind of why the style I struggle with. And like, even though the sound choice was crazy, mix was crazy, like everything about this song is amazing. It's just, I don't know. I want to hear like an evolution, timbrally, mainly timbrally. You could probably do the exact same flow and that's fine. It's just the timbre. I want to hear some wacky things happen. But anyway, yeah, that's all I have to say. That was cool. Pollo's crazy. Pollo's cracked, honestly. Some of the best mixing and mastering, for sure.
Yeah, it was really nice.
All right. Oh God, it's my song. All right. Just know that like this is kind of just a test. Like this is like a loudness war test as well as like what it sounds like with me working on these new headphones. So I'm just curious what you think of obviously these questions.
Is this what we were working on earlier?
Yeah. I'm mainly just curious if this all works or if it's like too weird. Obviously there's no intro as well, so brace your ear holes, everybody. All right.
I can't send the questions to the chat. That's crazy.
You can't.
Too many questions. I was trying to send it to YouTube chat so the boys can roast you too.
Oh, okay. Here, I mean, I'll have it up on the screen, but yeah, maybe I should send it. But yeah, anyway, here we go.
I want a whole track of just that intro. Or outro, sorry.
The outro, just a whole track of that. No drums.
That, I mean, with drums, but like, I just want that.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
that would go so hard.
This is true.
Okay, boys. The first question is the mix good? Too spicy? Not spicy enough? We spoke about this earlier. I feel like you could probably get a little bit hotter on the high end.
Even more? Damn.
Yeah,
Damn.
a little bit hotter.
I was going
It
crazy.
feels hot in your headphones right now, right?
Yeah, but that's why
So something
I
you're gonna
stopped.
have to understand about those headphones versus what most people are listening on is that those headphones are hotter than, and in the high end particular, they're hotter in the high end.
Right, the skewed curve is like it's more high end.
Right.
Than like I see what you're saying.
So like once you get these, you're gonna have to understand that these have even more high end than those do, and they have even more low end than those do, but they kind of scoop in the mids, right? So what feels subdued in the mids, like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like you could go for a little bit more high end.
Okay.
Maybe a fizzier high end, but not sure if it will take from the plastic you feel. That's a very good point. Yeah, that's a very good point. Does the sound design feel like it's too random, or are the motifs interesting enough to run with? The sound design is on point as always. I feel like there could be more motif movement though. So keep the samples, but maybe a little like, and by motif movement I mean like you could A/B it a little bit harder. I have the doop 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 stuck in my head now, but like maybe there could be more than just the doop doop. But you're pretty good about that,
Right.
especially since this is just a proof of concept, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Should I add a dedicated sub, or is it flexing without it?
Yeah, like honestly, did you like the low end or not? Like, don't lie.
It felt like there could have been more low. I
Okay.
felt like there could have but the problem is like if you play that outro bit.
Oh, you mean this little section?
Right? You can't do that with a dedicated sub.
Right.
So the question becomes like, how do you balance that? And that's a juggling act that we all as producers have to go through. It's like, do we fucking put like a gate on our sub and just have it triggered by the bass movement of our mid bass? Do we use an envelope follower and link that to a filter? Like, how do we follow that, especially when you have such strange and dynamic sounds going on?
I mean, maybe for just those moments I can get away without the dedicated sub, but maybe for like the main motif, like driving elements, maybe that's where dedicated sub is like a way to go.
But then you have to figure out, like, could you maybe just get away with like a 2 dB peak, a 2 dB fucking bell boost on like following?
I mean, like, I should probably
Like,
band split is what I'm starting to think. Like I should probably start, or at the very least duplicating the track and then like,
filtering
high-passing
everything.
a little bit. Yeah.
Filtering, yeah.
Yeah.
But then if you have something like Baraska's EQ8 follower, right, which is the one where you put in the MIDI notes and it applies, it sets the fucking real, send it to me, and what it does is it follows the notes that go in and it puts a boost or a cut, but basically it's a key tracker for EQ8, basically is what it's doing.
Gotcha.
So if you put a key track boost on just the bass, like maybe that could solve the problem. So I think we are once again torn, Magnet, as to what our answer is for dedicated sub. I think it's on a track by track basis. It's dependent for stuff like deep dub, where you don't have like, where it's like very slow and simple, like not very hard to program in the automations for the sub bass. Maybe their dedicated sub makes more sense, especially if you're going to use a lot of samples. But for what you're doing, where you're cooking the stuff like fresh, like this is not sample pack shit. I mean, it might become sample pack shit in the near future.
But yeah,
Just
you're
saying.
right. You're right. Not right now. You're right. Nobody has these
Right.
sounds. So
Right. But the thing is, you're cooking up the sounds, and your bass is usually pretty on point. I just feel like it could have gone for just a little bit more bass here.
well, one thing that I've
But
thought
yeah.
about, and this is like maybe I should stop conceptually thinking about and actually actively do, is whenever I use an instrument, just group it and duplicate it, and then have one of them being recorded, like MudPie wise, record the MudPie of like everything, and then record the MudPie of like just the sub. Because I could definitely set that up in a way that's not like too crazy to, you know,
Oh, so that the filter
actualize.
movement, so that the filter movement is going. See,
Yeah.
but then you present the problem where even if you do that and you boost them on top of it, well,
Well,
I
then I don't have to
mean,
worry about splitting them, right? Because then I'm like,
right.
from the
So
from a phase level, there's no
exactly
information other than the sine wave, is what I'm saying.
right.
Like, so
But
maybe it
then
would
you
be better,
also
but I don't
are
know.
you talking about cutting out the bass from the top end and then just having the sine do its thing, or are you talking about layering the sine in on top to amplify when the waveform is doubling on itself? Because if you do that, you
Oh, I'm
present the
talking about
problem.
cutting out the bass from the
Okay,
main. The MudPie
okay.
would have the bass built in. That way, if I want to use it as is, I can. But then I could just high
You
pass
would have
that.
the separately. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. But then also, you kind of have to keep track of where your samples are. But you're a clever guy. You'll figure out how to do that.
Well, yeah, well,
Like,
no. So, like, if I have them labeled the exact same thing and then just have one that has sub, I am so good at labeling. Like,
yeah, I was gonna
never,
say
I will never have
you know how to do.
problems.
You'd probably chop it into like bar segments and then save each individual doubling as like this is,
No, I would just
you
save
know,
the whole
like
mud pie. Like, this is the mud pie, and then this is the sub for the mud pie, and there's no difference
right.
in
But
timing.
when
And
you
then
start
if
chopping it up,
so,
you're
when I
gonna have to
chop
chop
it,
them up
I would
and
chop
move
both
them the
up.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would highlight both of them and then scroll through both of them at the same time.
right. So for someone like me, that would get real confusing real fast.
Fire.
I would
Yeah.
copy it over one place, but then again, that might be the vibe. You might have like a different movement in the sub bass and the mid bass might also be the vibe. I don't know.
I'm
Good
trying
track
to
though. Great sound
discover
design.
the big thing is I'm trying to discover the answer to having really cool weird flows with mud pies because I feel like you can't get these kinds of flows with like
No, you
MIDI,
can't.
but
No.
obviously still have a clean sub that I can manipulate in whatever way that I want. So that's like
No.
that's the fucking puzzle that we're still figuring out. But anyway,
I think the answer is it's different on a track by track basis. It's just
yeah.
you're gonna have to. It's you just gonna have to identify when you're working on the track. Like once you get to that certain point where that change needs to be, if you need to change over to a dedicated sub. And so maybe the best bet is to create a doubling of all the mud pies to where you have the sub as well.
Maybe what I'll do is
And
I'll
then
just try the band split first and see if I can get away with that. And then if that doesn't work, then I will
that may cause phasing issues, but then again, we have that $15 handy dandy plugin, M Auto Phase, right?
yeah, well I mean also the other big thing is like if the phasing sounds fine, does it matter, you know? Like if it
Right.
sounds good,
So
then
sometimes phasing is a good thing, right? Where like if yeah, I don't know.
I've been kind of
It's a
getting into
creative
that
thing.
mindset more because I have all these wonderful tools to help me like trust my ears more and like
Hmm.
your ears know what's right. Like that's I
Right.
believe that deep down like everyone should feel this way. Like your ears are the right thing to trust if you have the right setup. Like, for example, if you have a
Right.
treated room with monitors, if you have headphones with, like Sound ID or some kind of a correction thing, or
Right, and that's where it comes in handy to have 8-inch monitors or homies who have 18-inch subs or friends like Blonde and Real that go and play out at shows or Colin who like can take it to the black box and tell you like, hey, this sounds pretty okay on a big system. That's where networking comes in handy and having different mediums to test it out, like in the car, on the TV system, the laptop, cell phone. But I feel like we might be getting a little bit too advanced here for in our
nah, we just keep shit real, man. We just keep it
the
real.
minutia of phase alignment and the bottom end of your track. Very important. Should you dedicate the sub or should you not? I don't
Yeah.
know. But
Hey, I'll bet these questions are not as old as time, but probably as old as the past few decades.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Mr. Bill copycat answer to this is always dedicate your subs, always, always. But
Oh
then
yeah.
at the same time, like
Dude, every single track that I love, it has a dedicated sub. Like, and I'm like, I just got to do it. I think the thing is I fuck up and I really like these flows of the mud pies, but I think the real way to do it is to just use your brain, come up with something that's cool, beatbox it into your phone or some shit, and then bring it into the DAW.
So Poyo
Realize
asks
it.
in the chat, what's phase alignment? That is a rabbit hole that Magdu and I probably shouldn't do. We'll address it after the stream. We'll talk about phase alignment.
Yeah.
And the various ways you can phase align.
Yeah. Here, maybe I'll, or you write a note down so we don't forget, because I'll fucking forget.
Yeah.
I will dead ass forget. Yeah. Thank you. In the meantime, let us embark upon this simulation. All right. I'm just going to get going here on the old simulatory vibe. All right. Is it my turn? I think it's my turn to go first.
Yeah, you're first here. Yeah.
What you do about the buildups? Are they fine? Okay, so I think the buildups are not horrible, but they're not great either. They okay. So like, here's the thing. Let me just turn this back up just so I can. So like, all your drums are like full volume in the buildup. Like they're all like full energy. Like everything in the buildup. You may not have a kick, right? But like everything that is there is it's going to have the same energy there as it does in the drop. So like that's like one big thing that you can immediately address to like make the buildup feel more tension filled, feel more, like take more away from me, man. Like you can't just give me all this energy and then try and give me even more energy. You got to like just tease little things, maybe high pass or band pass, even those claps and things like that. Like really try and take away more frequencies. The other thing is, like, I also think that the triple clap thing right before the drop, I don't know if it like sets it up enough. I mean, it's not bad, but I think you could have like a reverse crash that like kind of leads into the drop, or even just silence before it, like one of the two. I don't know if like the triple clap works. I don't know. I would say experiment more with that. But in general, the biggest thing is you have like all of these instruments that are like full spectrum, full sound. And I think that if you EQ'd out a lot of those frequencies, you will find that when you give us all of those frequencies at the drop, your drop will hit like a lot harder. And to the listener, it'll be a little bit more obvious that it's a buildup. But those are my thoughts, Dino. What about you? Those are kind of, I didn't mean to be brutal, by the way. It is a pretty good buildup. It's just, that's just something that I see a lot of people miss. And I would say that's like the first thing to try.
Hold on. Let me make sure that this guy has a build-up tutorial. I don't know that he does or doesn't. Fuck. This is strange.
Don't worry, I'll have to
know.
do one of those.
Yeah, so LPF in the build-up, LPF break in the build-up. Magnus right, there's a little bit too much energy, and LPF for low pass filter for drum and bass is the way to go. And I would cut the bass at like 100 hertz and then LPF and then do full fat when the drop actually happens. Reference I don't know if he has any tutorials on this kind of stuff, but just anything from Stranger for this kind of he does like drum and bass specific tutorials. You probably know who he is already because you've been cooking on drum and bass for the past few submissions. Well, I don't know that you've submitted in Feef recently, but your community feedback stuff and your whips have been drum and bass. So I'm getting the feeling you know who Stranger is. Let me just type that out in the chat for those of you guys who are curious about that. It's Stranger, like that. Really good Canadian drum and bass artist. But there's the first one honestly was kind of weak. The second build-up was pretty good though, I have to say. But I have to agree with Magda in that the energy differential could be higher. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Is the drop mix arrangement full enough? I want it to feel sort of minimalist while focusing on the drums mainly. So like, it's not bad. I think that you should have some full spectrum sounds every once in a while. Like, what is it called? Like the foghorn type sounds, or like something like that, where you have just like moments with like a really full spectrum sound, like a respace for a second, or things like that. And then you can go back to like the low thumpy sub bass with, the drums. Cause I think like if you have none of those full spectrum sounds, it just doesn't feel like the energy is matching the drums. Like it doesn't feel like even though the drums are super intense and like fast, I feel like there's a lot of I'm trying to think of some good examples of this would be like I'll think of some, but long story short, yeah, there's a lot of people who do like these full spectrum sounds momentarily throughout the arrangement, and I feel like that like kind of fills this feeling of not repetition, but the lack of like dynamics. Like, because you like, even though you have all these drums and you do have these melodic elements, you don't have these like full spectrum basses happening every once in a while, and I feel like it doesn't match the flow of the vibe. Like the vibe, because it's so aggressive, should probably have like little moments where you have like aggression or fullness. Maybe aggression is not the word to use. Fullness. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. What about you? What about you, Dino?
Is the drop mix arrangement full enough? I want it to feel sort of minimalist while focusing on the drums mainly. Let me address the drums. There's a little bit of too much beat repeat randomization wonkiness going on in some of the parts for the drums for my taste. And as I've been teasing in the Discord, I am working on a drum tech that works like super good for like neuro minimal D&B. Percy says it's called microfunk is the genre that I'm cooking on right now. But it's a D&B genre. So that's something that you might want to keep on your radar if I ever release the tech. I don't know, I might gatekeep that sauce for myself. But nah, that'd be fucked up. Can we get a bit of, because nothing about the drop was like feeling. Give me like halfway through the drop.
Yeah, halfway what? I'm sorry. What did you say?
It's right there's fine.
Okay.
Right there's fine. Yeah, it's fine. There, I don't have, as far as like the mix for that goes, like the levels are all correct feeling. Um, yeah, I don't know. Again, the only thing that is kind of funky for me for that, and it's an arrangement thing, is the drums are a little bit too all over the place for that. But I think that's more of a like a question 3 kind of thing. But
Yeah, I can agree with
if
that too. There's a couple, especially in the high frequency percussion. Hang on, let me see if I can find
is this addressing question 3 now at this point though? Talking about the flow.
Oh yeah, I
Of
guess
the-
that is. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
There's this one. That section right there. I don't know why that like. What is it? It's like a cash
the coin
register-y
symbol.
kind of sound. I don't know how to describe
Yeah,
it.
the coin sound, we'll
Yeah,
call it.
I do not like that happening that often.
Doesn't work.
It's like not hype. It's like
It could be used as a single bar ender, maybe.
I mean,
But even then, I feel like it's not for this track.
it needs, if you're gonna do stuff like that, I feel like it needs to be like super super tight, and it's just such a like wide long sound. I feel like if you maybe transient shaped it, it might work where you just cut off all the tails, or maybe if it's audio, just cut out the samples sooner. Yeah, the think break. Yeah, I feel like it's just super long. Like those samples are like super long. Like I would make those a lot less long, personally, because that's I think why it's feeling less. Like it basically takes away from the energy, which I feel like isn't the vibe. But yeah, that's kind of the big flow thing that I felt was bad. I don't know if there were really any other parts other than the random beat repeat stuff that Dino was talking about. Maybe the claps, all the like maybe less claps, I think could go harder. Cause like, I don't know, with drum and bass, it really feels good to have the, like the rhythm of it feel somewhat stable, like I feel like when you have too much instability in the rhythm in drum and bass, it just doesn't hit as hard. But you can still do that every once in a while. It's just like most of the stuff that I've listened to is like very, very like stable. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's
just you.
It's funny because I listen to a shit ton of drum and bass, just not, I guess.
It is cyclically stable, we'll say. Like there is a cycle to it, but I don't know. I feel like rhythmic instability, especially. You're right. The kick and the snare should always in the same place, but for the most part, like especially with some drum and bass drum patterns, like you'll have, like for instance, a irregular jungle pattern is like you have like your kick snare, and then you have your no second kick, and then the snare is a half beat early. It's kind of weird, but it does it every time. That's the stability, is that it's gonna do it every time. It's gonna be the same,
right? And I mean, like even if there are moments that are non-stable, like usually they fit into certain areas of the arrangement, like they're like transition points or things like that. Like the classic fill areas is I feel like where I hear the most.
Can we get a small snippet of the second drop, please?
Yeah.
That wing mod is fantastic. On the frog bass.
What did you say?
Yeah, it's either FM or ring mod. It's some sort of modulation though, and I mean like oscillator modulation that's going on that frog bass is super fucking good. Super fucking good. Like that's the kind of like brain melting shit on a loud system. Then, and when I talk about like bring the pain and then dial it back a notch, those are the frequencies I'm talking about. Like those high pitched FM RM type frequencies that like just for me they just sing to my soul. That's what I go to, like especially like with with the current meta of like jump up and dance floor, like that's the kind of stuff that cuts through really well. But yeah.
But yeah, whenever
Yeah, I
I
love
think
this.
of drum patterns, I would reference Noisia personally.
For sure, for sure. But for the just overall like breaking down drum patterns, Stranger, he does tutorials on all of them. He's
That's
got a
true. I've
really
seen him on YouTube as well. He's
yeah.
dope.
He's the currently the drum and bass guy. But yeah, no, I don't think I have any comments on the flow other than what I've already mentioned and what Magnus already addressed. I don't think that we need to beat that dead horse.
And I think the one thing I'm going to add, just because of this last comment, not aiming to be perfect, just want a track to be good enough first, just wondering how close I am this time. I feel like you're pretty close. The biggest thing, and this honestly trumps like all of the feedback I've given you so far. So like this feedback that I'm going to give you, I would say is more important than any of this stuff that I've already talked about. And that would be variation. This second drop is like kind of a copy paste of this first drop. And like, for me, that's like instant not going to listen to the rest of this song. So that's just me. So maybe other people are cool with that, but like, I am like really not a fan of that personally. So I would say like experiment with some different sound design, experiment with like some different flows, that kind of stuff. Cause if we listen to this, it's like the same thing, you know? Like I don't think there's any difference at all. If there is, you'll have to let me know because I didn't notice any. But yeah, that's what I would say you should focus on, because that's what keeps people like me interested. But anyway, that's the only opinion that I have.
Huge level ups too with the stuff that you've been like from when I first started listening to your music 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago to now. It's like it's a huge difference.
Oh yeah, and as far as the mix is concerned, this is like fire.
Yeah,
Fire mix.
It's really good. The levels, everything. It feels a little bass light on my headphones, but I also know that my headphones like it sounds the way it should sound, and I know it would sound the way it should sound on a larger system too. Which, when you're talking about drum and bass sound system culture, like that's all we really care about, right? That genre.
Yeah, all my feedback should probably be taken with a grain of salt because I have literally just tried to open back headphones for the first time in my life, so I'm still
they're fine. They're fire. You got to figure it out.
Well, thank you for that track, dude. That was dope. That was cool.
All right.
All right. Well, he's gonna show us. Oh boy.
Yeah. Hold on. I'd like to make a comment before we get started here. All right, boys. This track is from 6 days ago. Okay. And he's got a comment from 5 days ago. All right. Now, usually I take a little bit of offense to someone posting an old track on Feef, but it's about a week out. Okay. But just know that I notice these things. Right. And so, yeah. Just saying. Please give us fresh content. If you give me a track that's 3 weeks old and has comments from 3 weeks ago, I might let it slide. If you give me a track that's like 6 months old and has comments from 6 months ago, I'm gonna trash it. Because I feel like at that point, like it's not a fresh track, it's not a fresh rendition, and you're wasting my time, Magnet's time, and everyone else's time. This is a little more recent and it's okay. But would you say that's true?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's been re-uploaded throughout the week. So I guess the assumption is he's doing the replace audio and then it's not resetting the upload time. Because that doesn't reset it. If you replace the track, it does not reset this.
I'm aware.
But thank you for the clarification, 0 Point. And now we will let you show us.
think that's nasty? I'll show you fucking nasty. You call that fucking nasty? You think that's nasty, pal? I'll show you fucking nasty. You ain't seen fuck all yet.
All right. I forget. Is it do you go first or should I?
You
might
you
just
can
jump
crack
into
us
it.
off.
So,
I'm thinking about ways to nicely say what it is I have to say.
yeah, I mean, like, to answer the first question, I feel like no. And I'm going to go like one step a little bit further. And this kind of, I even talked about this in the last track. Like, variation is important, but the way you're variating here is, I'm trying not to discourage you because I feel like you're learning sound designing and you're exploring things. But the way you're exploring some of these sounds, I think you should try and match the level of all the sounds in the track. So I don't mean that from like a level, like volume level, but what I mean is some of the sounds sound really good, and then some of the sounds just don't quite match it as far as like clarity, timbre, things like that. So what I would say is experiment with sounds more, like keep sound designing and keep going, but try and take the sounds that you really think are flexing, because like there's some songs in this track or sounds in this track that are like really, really good.
Let me interrupt real quick. I think what Magda was trying to say is some of the sounds sound professional and some of them do not, and you should lean into the more professional sounding sounds.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah. Thank you for basically making that a lot easier for me to explain. Because yeah, no, that's literally what I'm saying. And I mean, there's a lot of sounds in here that like the biggest thing, and I'll try and find one. Let me just find the sound. Okay, like that sound, for example. Right? You have this moment where it's like I don't know if I really dig that sound, but then right after that, you have this really cool, like, yoy,
That big crush yoy is gnarly.
Right. So, like, I think that if you lean into the timbral quality of those yoy sounds more and not do the, like, I don't know. It's kind of like this washed out LFO feeling that I'm not a huge fan of. I think that would benefit your sound design in the track completely. And then on top of that, when it comes to variation, then your sounds won't sound like completely the same the whole time, because unfortunately, even though you have these variations to those LFO'd bass sounds that you have going on, they sound the same. Like they sound like the exact same, even though there's slight things that I did notice are changed. From a timbral perspective, they are identical. So yeah, I would explore like going deeper with that, with when it comes to like which sounds to pick from, and like stick with that timbral quality throughout the track. Because I think if you do that, you've got yourself some serious bangers on your hand. But that was just my opinion. I mean, it's definitely a vibey track. I do think that I'll wait. I mean, this is like the only arrangement question, so that's kind of why I'm bringing up all the arrangement suggestions here.
I have arrangement comments too.
Yeah. I feel like the one thing that I just want to point out before Dino gives his thoughts is you gotta have like a build up intro-y. Like you have to. It's similar to some of the previous tracks too. You gotta like cut out more things, kind of like lead us into this moment where you have the guy say, I'll show you whatever, whatever he's saying here. You gotta like take more away from this section here, so that way when you do finally get to the drop, it slaps. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Dino, flex.
Is the sandwich just the meat? Or do you also have vegetables in there? Does the bread make a difference on the sandwich? Sometimes if the meat of the track is good, but everything else around it is subpar, it makes the whole thing feel subpar. And that has nothing to do with this track. That's a comment on what Magda was saying about arrangement. Like you can't have just, and this is a lot of people make this mistake. They just focus on the drop. They don't focus on the ambiance around the drop, the intro, the break, the build, the outro, right? Anyway, I think you could get rid of the whole intro, just all of it, and make that third drop the first drop, because that third drop's pretty fucking good. Like it's like it's, and I feel like as you probably made this track linearly, right? Where you started on this section and then you built, and then you got to this section and then you built, and then you got to this section and you built, right? And I could be wrong. I'm probably not though. Yeah, it's not an analogy. I'm just talking about sandwiches. And so maybe do sound design sessions where you save like samples, one shots, mud pies. Mud pies are a huge thing. AU5 calls them monoliths, but colloquially speaking, in the bass music scene, they're called mud pies. I'm out of fucking focus for some reason. This is weird. There we go. And so that could be a move forward. I have to agree with Magdu. Some of those sounds in there, like, it took me back in time, and I miss them. Right, like, I miss back when modern talking was like actually used by professionals professionally. And so like that's like there's some really cool stuff in here. There's some really good material that could be used. As far as should you reuse the same sounds in the third drop with different variation, or figure out a way to make the new sounds work, I think the new sounds in the third drop work better than the existing sounds in the first and second drop. And then there's a whole bunch of arrangement stuff that we got to talk about later on, that we can talk about that's outside of the scope of Feef, I think. And we are cooking up an arrangement workshop. Our resident arranger, Blonde, is working on something along those lines, but he keeps getting stuck in tangents. So look out for that. So it looks like we're gonna have a phase workshop coming in the near future. Magdu and I will cook on that, and Blonde is definitely doing an arrangement workshop. But as far as like the sounds and stuff goes, like if I were you, I would lean away from the rhythm adjacent stuff and lean more into the classic dubstep stuff. Not like deep dubstep, but like mainstream 2010 to 2014 like dubstep sounds, because you seem to have those down pretty pat. And the rhythm stuff, like I'm biased against rhythm. I must admit. But like, I feel like I was impressed. I was impressed by the dubstep sounds, and I was taken back by the rhythm type sounds. And I think Magnet kind of probably addressed that a little bit better. And I don't want you to get discouraged, because like some of the stuff you're doing here is like some of those yois, like Poyo pointed out, like some of those yois are really nice. And I'll address the yois and what you can do to help those out with the next question. But for now, I'm going to defer back to Magnet because I feel like I've been talking for a long time.
No, you're good. No, I agree with everything you're saying there. I do think that it's nice to sometimes hear some classic energy. How does the mix sound? Is anything loud or harsh? Let me just do a quick little refresher here.
That was you. Oh, dude. Those fucking noise.
Yeah, the always go hard. I don't know. I feel like when the other like LFO basses and the ride hi-hat thing that you have are like layering at the same time, they feel a little harsh. And it's mainly in the hi-hats, not in the basses, but in the hi-hats. Once again, I'm on these new freaking headphones, so I'm not sure, but they do feel like they're a little bit out of balance with everything else. I would say what you can try and do is basically kind of inverse the way that the things are. So like right now, it sounds like your high-end percussion is like way louder than the mid-bass high-end. And I would say like try and bring the Yoi high-end is like perfect, but then the other high-ends feel weaker. So I would say try and bring the other high ends up to the level of the Yoi high end, and then you'll probably be fine. But yeah, I think that that's the only thing that sounded too harsh was when those stack up next to each other. So what you could also try doing, and this is just another suggestion, is dynamically EQing out the high frequencies from your mid basses when your hi-hats are happening, but that way you can still have your mid basses like be loud. So, you basically turn up the high end of your mid basses and then dynamically cut out the, overhead percussion. So like the hi-hats or timbres or tambourines or whatever they are, those, have them dynamically cut out, room in that mid bass. But yeah. What about you, Dino? Is anything too harsh or too loud?
I wouldn't say anything that's like too harsh or too loud to my ears per se. I would say, however, there are some places, and I asked you in chat if you're using a dedicated sub bass, and you are. There are some places where you just want that sub bass to continue on. Like I can understand the yois sweeping. Like sometimes you want to have them be their own thing without bass, but for the most part, like a yoi sweep with a full fat sub bass under it goes pretty fucking hard. And there are some places where it's got the bass under it, and some places where it doesn't. But yeah, I would like to see more iterations done on this. I would want to hear more of the arrangement dialed in before I even address the mix sound. That I feel like there's more you can and should cook on before you even start to think about what you want to do for mixing. And then always, is anything too loud or too harsh, there's two really easy things you could do to fix that. You could throw a fucking spectral gate like Soothe on the sorry, not a spectral gate, spectral compressor, like spectral compressor by whatever that guy's name is, or Soothe, which is basically the same thing, or the new Pro Q4 if you have that kind of fucking cheddar to blow on fucking an EQ that you're going to use for literally one thing. I'd rather use Soothe than Pro Q4, but I don't have either of them, and I don't use either of them. Or you could do the whole white noise thing and just get your levels that way. And those are three really simple and effective ways to make sure that nothing is harsh or poking out too much. But yeah, again, I would dial in. I would figure out the sound palette and get all that going. Should you pitch bend the sub to match the Yoi? No. Keep the sub doing its thing, and then have the Yoi go. And then, I mean, sometimes you could, sometimes you can't, but the idea is that you have this huge, fat, blasting sub that sustains, and then the Yoi moves on top of it. This is an instance where the sub bass does not match the mid bass. But yeah.
Yeah, and then as far as overall loudness, Sorry, I thought you were done. You are, right? Let's
No,
make sure.
I was.
Yeah,
I was
overall
gonna,
loudness. Let me just do one last little thing. It's pretty good, actually. I think it could be a little bit louder, but like Dino was saying, you got to focus on the arrangement first, I think. Like, kind of just get it as loud as you want so that it feels comfortable or exciting while you're arranging, and just, like, cook more on arrangement. Yeah, clip.
does the name bathymetrics mean anything to you?
Yeah, I was literally about to say clip to 0. Yeah, clip to 0, that shit, and just, yeah. Look up bathymetrics clip to 0 on YouTube, and you'll be well on your way.
Yeah, the idea is to clip everything to maximum loudness, and then you level it from there. But yeah, no, very good track, very good beginning concept. Can I ask you how long you've been producing seriously for? Like, because there are some people, oh, I've been producing for so many years, but then like how long have you been religiously like in the DAW 3 times a week for a couple hours at a time? Like, how long have you been doing that for? If I may just inquire.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't think I've seen you in our
I haven't. So welcome.
our VCs before. Yeah. Oh,
if you have been here, then oops.
Yeah.
But I don't
Been
think
with
so.
us for over a year.
About
14 months. Okay. Good progress for 14 months for sure. And I'm getting the feeling that you cooked up almost all of the sounds yourself, right? Either following tutorials but none of that's samples.
Okay, word. That's gonna help you out a lot. I think that'll help you
a
lot.
we like Ben around here.
Yeah. I think that'll help you a lot because
Ben and Conti's the shit.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you're making your own sounds. That's like I can tell too, and that's just like I don't know. That's a big flex. Like just know that better to keep sound designing and get better at it than like not do that and just kind of be stuck using other people's sounds. Because like yes, you can make good songs with other people's sounds. I'm not saying that's not possible, but I feel like it's impossible to stand out, or it's like way harder to stand out from other people. So yeah, that's cool. That's a big flex,
and that's the best way to do it. If you're in Ableton, go ahead and visit Magdo's Patreon. He's got a free section with a whole bunch of not gatekept stuff that can help with a lot of sound design. Yeah,
well, good.
Exactly.
That's a healthy mindset.
we're of the same opinion, and I understand that's not very popular amongst most producers. But when you're talking about like super niche bass music stuff and like bass culture, like ID dub plate, like what's that sound kind of stuff, then that's how it has to be. But yeah, for sure.
No, Dino spitting facts though. There's if you're in Ableton, like I got tons of free racks that just are fucking nasty.
Sound design monsters.
Steal it, bro. Yeah. Steal it. That's my whole point. The reason why I don't gatekeep stuff is because like I want people to like make cool shit, and I think that the squonk bass is fucking cool. All right. Anyway,
nothing is more satisfying than cooking up a tech and then hearing someone else use it better than you would have.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Steal it. I come up with new shit all the time too, so that's why I like do it. I always look forward to that. Anyway, next up we got a bit of a pickle here. We're in a bit of a pickle.
Is this Scrub? Is this Scrub?
Yeah, this is Scrubtronics. All right, the fucking god himself. What a great name, dude. Scrubtronics. Fucking nuts.
Dylan sucks. Let me tell you about a bitch named Dylan. Dylan's a little bitch. 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 He's a bitch. Little bitch. your dog.
Yeah.
And punch your cat. Hey, yo, fuck Dylan. You heard me. Hey, yo, fuck.
All right. Okay.
I mean, we don't even have to ask who heard him. We don't even need to figure that
Yeah.
out.
I'm just gonna hit question 3 real quick. Just knock that one out. The lyrics are 100% unnecessary in this track, but I can understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Quite well.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's,
Yeah.
100% don't need them though. Do we think there needs to be more percussion? I left it super basic, didn't focus on it all. Once again, I am cooking on a very nice percussion technique that I will make available pretty soon. And it leads to very like tipper-esque percussion. And it's DAW agnostic. You can use it in any DAW. So yeah, we're cooking on that tech right now. And I've seen some people kind of address it on YouTube. But yeah, there should be a little bit more percussion, definitely. Yeah, sorry. There's other things I want to talk about that has to do with that, but I'll wait until we're done with the questions because it's not addressing the questions. But go ahead, Magnet.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I think especially when it comes to the percussion as well, like I feel like the balance of it even is very off-putting. Like I want to feel like a drum beat, you know? Like I want to feel the kick and snare. Even in a song like this, if it's going to be there, like I want to feel it.
It needs to actually be there if it's going to be there.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe sidechain more. Maybe also like sorry, that random bitch just had me. Yeah, the lyrics are so off-putting that it's hard to focus on some of this stuff. Yeah, the clap thing is like super. The kick and clap are like not even there really. I would make sure
They might not be the right sample.
Yes, I'm in that boat, 100%. Because you have this like big wubby subby dubby thing, you know.
In fact, I think the right sample is no sample here. You should generate some 808s for this kind of track. I feel like that would be the right move. Like tonally generated synthesized kick and maybe just like a white noise blip for your snare could be the move forward here.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, always more percussion. I think fills would be nice too. Maybe build up drums, that kind of stuff. Like
that. Are you want to address question 2 while you're here talking about buildups?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, they do need more.
Yeah, non-existent.
I feel like the thing is like, yes, this is fine. Like you not liking the kicks there is fine. But maybe try it with a different instrument or just add a lot of subtle things together. Like claps, yeah, claps are big brain. But even subtle things together. So like if you really don't want to put any percussion in it, you could add like, you know, a Foley that's slowly coming in volume, like a riser, a reverse cymbal thing, you know, like all of that kind of stuff can help. A white noise sweep, you know, like the list goes on. And what's great is like when you combine all of those subtly together, it starts to feel even more like impressive. So I feel like stuff like that can be beneficial. And this song felt, I think half the reason why this song felt so jarring was the lyrical aspect, but the other half I do think comes from the lack of building and releasing of tension. I think that in general, there's like a randomness to the feeling of the tension release. And this kind of goes back to what I talked about in previous songs. Another way that you can do that to build tension is to remove frequencies, you know, slowly bring, you know, get less sub as you get closer to the drop, you know, or less high end as you get closer to the drop. Maybe only do that in certain instruments too, you know, you don't have to do that to the whole master fader, but yeah, maybe turn it down like a dB as you get to the drop and then put it back up to a 0, you know, or something like that. I feel like always helps with building tension. But no, I can see that you had a silly time with this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is a very silly track. And then yeah, like I said, a filtered break could go hard, 110. You could do like a 110 filtered break. I don't know what. Just try and just work on buildups. The sandwich. It's not just me. Can I understand the lyrics on the first list? We already addressed that. Are lyrics too distracting? We already addressed that. Other things outside of the questions that I feel like could be cooked on here. The main mid bass sounds that you have going, I just don't feel like they don't fit the vibe of the track. You have like this sine arpeggio going that is really like pleasant. I think something that could probably maybe work better in place of the way the LFO rates that they're hitting and their arrangement is correct. I just don't think the timbre of them is correct. And this is a personal thing. I would go for more of. Are you familiar with Tipper's Spunnion? Does that track ring a bell for you? I can hear like a very Spunnion-y, yeah, yay. Like if you're gonna make a fun track, like fucking fully lean into the fun track. Just like silly, throaty, formanty sounds is kind of like what I'm thinking here. Not that particular track. Anything from the Jettison Mine Hatch Shatterbox era of Tipper, those kinds of like formanty sounding sounds, I feel like would be a go-to here. Not the whole vibe, but just like the way that. And there was another track that I was thinking you could reference for that thing that I was going for, but or just like a really huge like night bass psytrance zap kind of mid bass sound. Uses a mid bass rather than an effect, I would think. Because I'm not a fan of the mid bass selection here. Everything else is super cool though. Like I was definitely the intro had me going a little until you fucking turned me into a little bitch. Then I kind of felt the type of way. And I feel like if people are listening to this, they're not going to appreciate being called a little bitch, especially if their name is Dylan. Could you imagine being named Dylan and hearing this at a show and all your friends just like fucking turn and look at you? Fuck. That would make me definitely feel some type of way. Magdu's thinking about it. He's like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, the reality is like, that kind of thing is, like, I don't know. It's hella niche, you know what I'm saying? That's, like, you're looking for, like, 1 in a million there, dude. Maybe not. I don't know how many people are named Dylan, you think, in every 100,000. That's how many people you're about to be playing this song for, basically. And then they're not even going to like it. You know, they're not even going to be a fan of it. They're going to be like, fuck this guy. But no, I get it. It's fun. I mean,
Dylan is the 34th most popular name for boys in the United States.
Oh my God, that's a lot of fucking people.
7,000 boys a year are named Dylan.
Damn,
Dylan
dude.
Is 5% of boys are named Dylan.
Hope that none of them are crazy enough to like try and kill you.
5 out of 100 are named Dylan. 1 out of 20. You're offending 1 out of 20 of the boys in your audience here.
Yeah, man. You gotta watch out. Fucking could be Dylan. Dylan might be the next Luigi, you know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Right? And then you might have Dave Chappelle coming at you. Dylan, Dylan, Dylan. Sorry.
But no, all I can say is, yeah, I can see you had fun with this. Oh, another thing, this is outside the questions, but clip, bro. Compress, clip. Less dynamics equals me happy face.
It could have been a lot louder.
Less dynamics equals me smiling more. Yes.
But then again, Magnet, we have to remember, we keep telling people that there are things they need to address before the mix down
Oh
of
yeah,
the
but I
track.
mean, just chuck a fucking clipper on the master fader at least, you know, like just
Oh,
something to,
+5, you know?
yeah, just something to like get that feeling, you know, even if it's nothing like proper. Like I've been using like clippers on masters for long enough to know that it's fun.
What's the dirtiest limiter we can think of? Probably Sound Goodizer, right? It's probably the
Yeah,
dirtiest one.
yeah, yeah. Even that's better than nothing. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm just kidding. I think Clipper's better because it's less dirty, you know? Like at the very least, like at least it's somewhat clean, you know? Somewhat. It's still gonna fucking make shit sound nasty, but less nasty. Or maybe more nasty, depending how you use it in the right way of nasty. But anyway, no, that was cool though. Fun track. You were I guess Dylan's in a bit of a pickle. All right, next up. Oh gosh, now we have to not let you go. Don't you let me go. I won't lie, that verbiage, like the grammar there feels difficult to like wrap my head around, you know what I mean?
Feels very songy though.
But
Don't you let me go.
yeah, yeah. No, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying that's like my initial thought, but we'll see. Let's go for it.
It's a shame about that 3-minute hard limit. When the track actually changes up is when you have to end it.
Hey,
Um,
it's not me who
uh,
actually, I guess it is me who makes the rules, but unfortunately, yeah, I can't make the rule
no,
like
It's
true
not
for one person.
You're not you didn't make the rule. It's a rule that we're continuing.
Yeah, it's
a
been this
tradition.
way since the dawn of the server. I am just a mere mortal. A mere mortal surviving.
I'm a pawn on the chessboard. Is all. All right.
But yeah.
So outside of the questions, because this is really like, brother, the track got old like a third of the way through, and then the first like real change happens at the end only. That we need space to breathe. We need breakdowns. We need room. We need changes. Yeah, that's outside of the track. Brad, could you please bring up Vince McMahon for me, please?
Who's Vince McMahon?
Vince McMahon? No. It should be saved on your computer.
Yeah. I felt that.
No, that's Charlie. That's Charlie.
What the fuck? Then I don't know what you're talking about.
Vince is the four slide.
The
four things that every track should do. Let me just send it to you real quick.
Yeah, send it again so I can actually save it in the right spot.
Wait. There you go.
Oh yeah, I didn't save this one. Yeah, here, I'll save it. But let me just quickly save this here.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
And again, I feel like this is putting 2 and 3 or 1 and 2 together. Okay. And I hate to be that guy. I feel like you did have clearly defined basement and high, so that was good. Okay. It felt sidechained. I can't say that it wasn't because I didn't catch that it didn't feel sidechained. However, the whole track, you were hitting between 79 and 85 hertz on the bass, which is all the first octave, which is generally the second harmonic in the low end, right? So I felt like there was not very much bass, especially because that's the dead zone for most sound systems. Most sound systems cross over between like 80 to 100 hertz. Like that's where, like, it's not the subs and it's not the tops really hitting that. And the reason they cross over there is because that's the second harmonic that most artists cut anyway. There were some portions where you were hitting in the 50 to 55 hertz range, which is good. That's bass tones. But when you're talking about hitting like that first, like the 80 hertz region, I think you were hitting like, it was like E, F, and G1, I believe is what it was. I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on it, but I know it was 79 to 85 hertz. The readout on the waveform. That could be 1 octave lower, right? Yeah, sounded too low when I had it an octave lower. But that's less heard and more felt stuff. Like, you need to have pretty good headphones to even hear that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, and then once you get all of those top 3 things, then you can start talking about more background elements. Which, by the way, if you feel like you need to ask if you need more background elements, like I always tell people, like if you have to ask the question, you already know the answer to the question. Yes. If you ask that you need more background elements, then yes, you need more background. Something that I always do is I'll just throw in like a Foley layer, like a whole I'm infamous for my bird sounds, and it's just samples of birds in the woods, just across the whole background of the track, right? So yeah, you have any comments on background elements, Mr. Magnet?
So I feel like the answer is yes, but maybe not in the way that he might take it. So I'm going to be very specific here. I feel like you need elements that help bring release tension and release building. So like, I'm not saying you want like a pad or like some Foley things happening or like weird panned things or anything like that. I feel like you need little things to help the listener be guided into new moments. You have some of that, right? Like you have some there. That wasn't like horrible, but the problem is that there's like only this really loud synth and that's it. So what you need is like maybe a reverse cymbal. You need, maybe cutting out, again, this is tension building stuff, but yeah, cutting out in frequencies as that synth is happening, high passing it a little bit as you get to that point and then dropping it back down. I feel like also you could use more, just like that's what I mean by background elements, is like tension and release related elements. So even like really quiet risers or sweeps in the background, things like that are really good. You did add a sweep in the back that I liked. Okay. Like, yeah, so but like they're all really short, right? It's like there's no like lead up into that little quick, right? That little white noise thing that just happened there. There was like no lead up into that, so it just feels like jarring a lot of the time. I'm looking for one more. Yeah, like I get it. Like I see you're going for this glitchy style, but I would say it would definitely benefit to have something kind of leading people into those glitch out moments, because they're just very like, whoa.
Pre-delay, preverb. Yeah.
Yeah, like
They're also
really subtle
the
stuff.
levels.
Oh, what
The
were you gonna
levels
say?
on them are kind of hot.
Yes.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. The
No,
levels
no,
on them
you're
are
right.
kind of hot though. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you go with your background element ideas, because I finished mine. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's it. No. I was interrupting you. And plus, I was already done. I addressed question 1. I addressed
Alright.
it.
Then yeah, you're up next. Then what about question 2?
Whatever Magdo was just saying about those glitch things, they kind of just come in kind of hot. Some things come in hot. Some things are not loud enough. That's all I have to say about that. Work on getting, like, what I do is I put a limiter on all of, if not a track by track basis, a group by group basis, and I limit everything to minus 3 dB, which is a lot lower than most other guys in here go. I understand that. I recognize that.
I go to minus 4 or 6.
Oh, you go minus 6?
Yeah, dude. Often.
So then what do you push your limiter to on your master?
Oh, you're talking about like how much reduction is happening, or
No, I'm talking about the overall output.
Yeah.
I my ceiling is minus 3.
Mine is like minus 4 max, usually minus 6, sometimes even minus 12 if I'm feeling really
So you
fucking silly.
go much quieter.
The reason
right?
why
And the
is
reason,
because I like having the headroom on my master, so then I can like
right?
fucking
And then you can,
mangle it, just fucking,
and
just get
and then
in
you
there.
can turn it all back up later anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
And so, and when I say limiter, you can interchange that for clipper, compressor, limiter, like anything that's going to put a ceiling on the level. And just make sure that like you have those sounds kind of dialed down a little bit. Third question is more of a general question, not production. Yeah, well, it's something that I actually address all the time, is that third question. But yeah, mixing and mastering tips, like I don't want to speak on mastering, because that's like a really niche thing that I don't feel applies to my music, because I think I do such a good job mixing it down. And I think probably like my mastering chain is pathetic, right? It's literally, it's just a high pass that does an X4 at like 30 or something, and then a dip wherever the average of my second harmonic is, and then a bit of boost in the highs. Like I don't believe mastering is a thing anymore, because the term mastering comes from when they would cut vinyls to make sure that the song wouldn't, like when you're playing the vinyl, the needle wouldn't skip out of the vinyl and not play the track. I think it's an antiquated practice that doesn't necessarily so much apply to us. And if you're mixing everything down right anyway, like nowadays we're talking about mastering to minus 14 LUFS is the industry standard, right? That's what YouTube's going to compress down to. That's what SoundCloud's going to compress down to. I think Spotify goes minus 12 LUFS or something. So if you're hitting that, you're okay. And then obviously, like for live purposes, like anything louder than that, like personally, I try and hit 4-5. Like that's my goal, is to hit 4-5 on my tracks. I know Magda's in like the 5 to 6, 7 region. or realistically, as loud as fucking possible. Am I right?
Well, no, so like, yeah, minimum for me now is 5, and recently
Yeah.
I've been getting my tracks to be sounding clean
Three and a
at
half,
3. And
4.
my
Yeah.
what was that one that I put up for, was it last Feef? I had that one sitting at -2,
Yeah,
-1.5, and it was
yeah,
still clean.
that was ridiculously loud.
But that was kind of me experimenting with something that I've been noticing other people doing. Like, there's
And
this.
but
What were you gonna say?
how
Sorry.
much of that was a result of you mastering the track, or and how much of it came from the mix down process?
It's kind of a combination. So like what I've been learning, and this is like what this path I started on was originally kind of like a seed planted by Seth Drake and like his classes. Um, but the idea here is like your song should sound good, if not great, before it even reaches this mastering stage that people are talking about. And the mastering stage is this moment in time where you have a little bit of creative freedom on the overall timbre of your song. And it's a very small amount. Like, we're talking like the decisions made at the mastering level are like so subtle that they're never heard. It's always this thing that's like felt. And most people call it like sweetening, or like just kind of like barely doing anything, but just kind of nudging the track in a direction.
5% saturation at 300 hertz and up.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Right. Long story short, it's like super, super subtle stuff, and it's very creative. But at the end of the day, it's never going to make your song sound great. Like, the majority of your great song is going to happen in the mix down and in the sound design and in the arrangement. And like, yeah, like Dino was saying, like, that's why I was saying what I was saying earlier when it came to Scrubtronics' track. Like, minimum, just having a clipper or a limiter on your master will help you understand why you want your song to sound good before it even hits that. Because like, the goal, in my opinion, by doing that, by having a limiter on your master fader, is to get your song to sound good and the limiter not be doing anything. That's the goal. The goal is to have this tool there to let you know that something is activating that isn't supposed to be activating. So whenever I put a limiter on my master, I have a rule that I've kind of arbitrarily given to myself, but I've found it's helped me make my music louder and sound better. And that is, my limiter set to 0 or -0.01 is never going to be actuating or activating past -3 decibels. And that's like really pushing it. -3 is like aggressive limiting, in my opinion, on the master. My goal usually is like -1. And the whole point of that is, yeah, sure, some drum transients get through and they activate the limiter a little bit. But most of my song isn't really like doing anything. You know, like the limiter's just kind of there to let me know, like, hey, don't push it past this amount. That way, right, I know I need to go revisit that in the bus stage or the track stage, you know, in the mix down.
And not to shill too hard for Mag Do It here, but he does offer one-on-one time that you can get for a pretty good rate, from what I understand, as far as like him going into a call with you and working on your tracks with you. And he gets really in depth with that. Or if you catch him on a good day in a VC, you could get maybe like 4 or 5 minutes out of him. Unlikely, but you could.
No, he's not wrong. If you ever want to do one-on-one stuff, just hit me up. But regardless, the point that I'm trying to make is mastering is really kind of not important. If we're going to talk about,
it's an antiquated practice.
I think the only thing, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, the only thing that is important about mastering is for what platform you're planning on making your music available on. So like, yeah, if you're going to be streaming this on YouTube, that mastering process is going to help you decide, okay, this track render is going to be for the YouTube algorithm. So that way I know, like, okay, it's going to get compressed to 14 lufs. So that means my master has to be at -14 lufs. That way I know when I upload it to YouTube, YouTube's not going to just fucking mangle
Squash
it. Exactly. Yeah. And that's like you were saying, that's kind of the most useful and important aspect of mastering. Everything else about mastering is like, just make sure it's loud, you know, make sure it's at the loudness you want and that it sounds good at that loudness. So Yeah.
Okay, and then let's address question 3. How do you get bigger? I noticed on your Discord profile it says you're 17. Were you 17 when you made that, or are you currently 17? Because this will affect how I answer this question a lot. I'll give you a minute to answer that. And it also depends on where you're located geographically. Yeah, I don't have much financially either. Ignore the copious amounts of gear just sitting around my room. Both.
So
Both is
that's
not
where
an
the money went. No, I'm just kidding.
I
I
remember
have
I
a
was
lot of shit too. I just got these fucking new headphones that definitely set me back a pretty penny. But
yeah, you can imagine like when I got those $1,200 headphones, how stoked I was for them. Only to fucking use these all the time anyway.
yeah, I'm actually
Like,
really hyped about the 990s.
yeah, that'll be a game changer. You'll be able to hear what everyone else is hearing. I think is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So you answered both. So you're currently 17 and you were 17 when you made that, but like bro's two H's. Yeah, that's what I'm
he's
thinking.
too he's in the Middle Ages
Uh,
and the modern age, you guys. That's what he means.
Event All Access Pack 2023-24 around a week ago. So you're 21 now then. Avant, like the producing company. Anyway, okay, so if you're underage, it's going to be really hard for you to go out to shows and play your music live. That is the number one best way to make yourself known. To get in sweet with the promoter and just go play your tracks live, and people are like, holy shit, what track is this? You're like, this is my track, this is where you can find me. My recommendation is print out business cards with a QR code on them. I notice you already have a link tree. Just have the QR code point to your link tree. And that's that. You turn 18 in 3 months. Okay, generally you got to be 21 to actually play shows. Like for a any kind of meaningful amount of shows, you have to be able to get into bars. So that might be a problem. And even to get into bars as an artist, you have to be 18. So that could be an issue.
The only roundabout way I can think of personally is trying to tap into some of the online related
Yeah,
stuff in that way.
that's the other thing is TikTok.
Because you could do like
If
live things, well, even live stuff on the internet, like streaming, like DJing, or a lot of people that I like actually. Like a good one is Laxity, who makes like freaking awesome music. He toured with Porter. He's been doing VR DJing, which is really interesting. And you don't even
yeah,
have to have like a VR headset to do that. Like it's just he's doing it in VR for people to come and see him live, like live or
yeah.
whatever. So yeah,
So I'm actually as soon as I get the full setup here, I'm missing two pieces. I'm gonna start doing some like Dala stuff. I've been wanting to get back into Dallas. That was a huge rabbit hole that I got into like 4 or 5 years ago, and then I ended up selling off all my Dallas stuff. So I was like, I'm hooking it all into fucking FL Studio anyway. What's the fucking point? But yeah.
but yeah,
So
I think what goes hand in hand with what Dino's saying too is like networking. Like getting to
yeah,
know people who are in the scene that can kind of put you in a place where you can actually like put on a show. Like that's
and
a
then
really big
it,
thing.
it also matters geographically where you're at too. If you're in like Nebraska or like Oklahoma, sorry Percy. Well, Percy's not in Oklahoma anymore. But like
The
if
middle
you're
of
like in the
nowhere.
dead center, yeah, if you're in buttfuck Egypt, then I mean, like if you're located where I'm at or you're located where Magduit's at, like it's not hard to go out to local shows. And you're in upstate New York, so like Albany or Buffalo, like because we got homies out there too. But like if you're Niagara Falls, I don't know any other places in upstate New York, but yeah, you might want to figure out going to your local New York City sometime once you're old enough. And we have homies out there too, who are super plugged into that scene. Like if you're trying to get your name out there, I know Raf does. Our server admin, server daddy Raf, does he does like online shows that are New York based. You could connect with him and see if your music makes the cut for working with his stuff. Like it's just who you know and what you know. I know it's not who you know, it's what you know. It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's a little bit of both when it comes to getting yourself out there.
RAF, RAFF. Sorry, I was just answering his
Yeah.
question on the server.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking goat.
So, yeah. Yeah, he's in New York. Well, I don't know if he's currently in New York,
He's
but
traveling a lot too, though.
yeah,
So,
home base is New York for him.
yeah.
So don't tell him Dino sent you. Just be like, hey, I noticed you do live streams. What's it take to get involved? Don't say you refer at all, or else he's gonna fucking come and cut my head off later. Even though he's probably gonna watch the stream tomorrow night or something. Yeah. he's gonna know. But anyway, yeah, I hope that answered your questions, dude. Hop in VC sometime. Just let us know when you're coming, because we're starting to have a lot of people who are underage, and it's kind of determining how we speak and stuff. It's kind of.
Well, I don't have that
but
issue,
we're happy
but
to
some
have
people
you.
have that issue. You're not wrong.
I don't have that issue either. I don't have to clean. I don't like having to clean up after people who have that issue.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
hop in
that.
sometime, dude.
I feel that.
Yeah, we and in fact, a perfect time to hop in would be Thursdays and Sundays at 9:00 Eastern for the flock flip. Those still happen, right? I think you guys were doing it last night.
Oh yeah, of course we did. I will always be there on Thursdays, and I guess maybe in the near future I'm gonna have to start helping out on Sundays, but we'll see. But yeah, definitely on Thursdays, 100%, guaranteed.
Well, if you guys were to move to Monday, I would be able to do Monday, but I don't know.
I mean, maybe that just depends on what happens.
Going forward, I'm 100% booked up on Thursdays. I don't even have every other Thursday.
Well, don't worry. I'm good for that. I'm good for Thursday, so that's fine. But yeah, anyway. But no, thank you very much. It's cool to see that we have another a young producer on the scene. Keep making music, dude.
Love to see the growth. Yeah.
Keep making music. Do not stop. All right. Next up, we got this guy. This crazy kooky cat.
Again, I would like to address this question right here. That is what a fucking Feef question looks like. It's to the point. He has a short snippet of music. Like, he knows what he wants out of us, and he's given us just enough to sink our teeth into to get an answer for it. So if you guys are like, please, I appreciate the questions in general, but
this dude knows what he wants. This dude knows what he wants.
Specifically,
and that's helpful for us, because then we can give, in my opinion, of course, I guess this isn't always factual, but I would say this allows us to help you better, because he knows what he wants to solve. Like, he has a problem, right? And he's like, here is the problem that I want to solve. Whereas most of the time we're like trying to find the problem and then help you solve it. But he knows what the problem is, which is really helpful, because now we can hopefully help him solve it.
And the fact that he calls it a demo lets me know that I am only focusing in on that one thing that he's trying to acquire. Like, I'm not going to give a shit about his sample selection. I'm not going to give a shit about his flow. I'm not going to give a shit about his arrangement. I'm just going to figure out how we can make this shit louder.
Right. Basically, this guy's better at fucking asking these questions than I am, dude, because this is basically what I was doing earlier with my track, but obviously I've been outdone by an absolute G. Right. But anyway, we're going to jump into this. Let's see what the vibe's like. Fuck. Bro, I was there yesterday or Thursday. Yeah, yesterday, when you cooked this up, and I was shook.
Yeah, it's some real cunt music right here.
I won't even lie. He got my vote. I won't lie. I'm sorry, Jest. I'm sorry. He won anyways. He didn't need my vote. Anyway, no. Okay, let's jump into this. So, let's say you solo the kick and bypass any master FX. What plugins would you load to achieve loudness for mastering the kick? I've mixed the kick, then soft clip, hard clip, heavy limit. Am I on the right track? I also bypassed my sub before doing the same process on my master to keep it clean with the mastered kick. Okay.
Can we get I think we peaked at like -7.5, right? Is
That
that
was
where
with
we
the
were at?
volume reduction, so it's probably like -5. -5 is where I'm guessing. Probably where it's sitting normally. Sorry about the lack of LUFS here. It's because I have to have it turned down for the stream, but yeah,
Okay.
it's probably around -5. That's my guess.
I don't know that you're gonna be able to get this track any louder than it really is without adding more elements.
I mean, here's
But as far as, sorry, go ahead.
well,
Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say you're right, but I do think that there's this aspect of like, so loudness in the kick is like a conversation that's like kind of interesting because in this case scenario you have like a thumpy kick, and there is some high frequency like content in it, but you could put more high frequency content in it, like layering it with a cymbal or a hat, or making or having the drum already have that level of high frequency stuff in it. I mean, he's like me, all right, Dino? I saw your response there. He's like me, all right? -6 just isn't enough, and I respect that.
Okay, but look, with what essentially boils down to just a kick, a sub bass, and some percussion, -6.5 is fucking loud for what this really is. If you boil it down to like how empty the frequency space is on this track, that's fucking loud. Now, I notice here that you mentioned that you've done the kick, but you haven't done the sub. Is your sub peaking at -0.3 the whole time through? Like, is your sub as loud as possible? Because if your sub's not as loud as possible, and then when you get that summation of the waveforms between the kick and the sub and the snare, because like the idea here is that everything is as loud as possible, and then when it sums, you just barely reduce the peak a little, right? That's if that's my understanding of how clip to zero works. Is that correct, Magdu? You want everything to be as loud as possible, and then when they sum, you're just barely clipping the sum as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, you basically are always making sure that you're like, the goal
Every
here is
step
to do
goes.
everything in small steps. It's kind of like compression. The same is true with compression. Like, you're trying to do light bits of clipping the whole way through, so that way when you do have it on the master and you're clipping even that, it's like that clipper doesn't have to work as hard because you've already done all these little bits of clipping along the way to get to that point. So yes, that is accurate.
But you're trying to push maximum loudness into a series of clippers, right? So it's going to be as loud as possible. The kick is going to be as loud as possible running into the first clipper,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. By the way, I just wanted to point this out. This I would not do to your kick. I don't know why you did that, but I would say avoid limiters at all cost. They just don't sound good.
Yeah, a clipper is definitely going to be your better option here.
The problem with a limiter is that you have an attack and release. That's the problem, honestly. You have this like movement to it that's going to steal energy away from especially transients. But yeah, sorry. Continue on though. I didn't want to interrupt you. I saw that and
No,
like,
that is an absolute catch. And the fact that you don't have a clipper on your bass, which I don't think you, because there's no transient hit on a bass, right? Would you?
yeah, but I still clip everything. This is why you clip everything, right? So like, you'll never know how hard you can push it until you push it into the clipper, and then basically you push it as hard as you possibly can until you hear something happening, right? Some level of saturation or distortion,
Right.
And then you bring it back, of course, because you don't want saturation or distortion. But yeah, continue. Sorry.
So I think the only thing you can do here, the only thing I think I would be able to do to make this go past 6.5, because again, 6.5 is already pretty fucking loud, bro.
Yeah, your
like,
mixes are
especially for
good.
what-
His mixes are not bad. They're clean.
For what this is, 6.5 is fucking super fucking loud, bro. Like high end content. Fill out the frequency space. Remove the dynamic contrast, because that's what LUFS is. It's a measurement of the dynamic difference, right? And so to make it feel louder, you just need more stuff in there louder. And then also the Mr. Bill, his video on sub-bass processing, the copy video, I guess you could, the copycat bass video. I don't know how to say it.
Basically, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, Magda? Or he's talking about square waves instead of sub waves? instead of sine waves for sub bass.
Yes.
But he says that humans perceive loudness over a period of time. So that the louder you have a repeating sound, or the longer you have a repeating sound at a loudness, like he demonstrates with a white noise blip where he has one that's at like -3 for like a second, and then he has another one that's at -15 for like a long time, and the one that's at -15 feels louder because it's going for longer. I think the only thing you can do here is repetitive high frequency content, just like stuff sustaining out longer, and high frequency stuff sustaining out longer. So yeah, loud stuff equals louder. Thanks for that, Poyo. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you can also get away with things that you might not necessarily immediately think of. Like a big thing that I've been doing in regards to like these sorts of tracks to get loudness out of them is, so like you have a lot of like atmospheric vocally, like it's a very like melodic track. And there's nothing wrong with making the melodics loud too. Like a lot of people just focus on the drums and the bass, but I have been getting deeper into the idea of making even the mid-range elements loud. So, you know, OTT, limiting, not limiting, but clipping, and even at times saturating, depending on how loud I want it to feel. But once again, all of these things that I just said are not timbrally changing anything. They're just pushing levels in areas where there weren't levels before. And it's like all of this stuff is like very felt but not heard. That's like the idea behind all of these things, is like you don't really want to like throw a distortion on it that's going to like change the timbre of everything. But who's to say that a little bit of like tube saturation isn't going to add volume and loudness but not like change it enough to where you'll even notice it? You know, that kind of stuff is nice.
And again, I don't think this is the answer you want to hear, but like for me, 6.5 on this is loud enough. It's already like you're already 6.5 in the world of 11, 12. Like,
yeah, you're flexing. He's flexing.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
Yeah, like already you're fucking blowing out fucking Deep, Dark, and Dangerous and fucking In for Tribe and like all the like, yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry that's not the answer you wanted. Especially like, in order to what,
Sorry, I just wanted to
like
those
chord hits going, like those could be a shit ton louder. Like push everything into the push everything into a clipper.
Yeah, even the vocals.
Everything.
Like the vocals could be louder. Yeah, the little those could be louder. Yeah.
Could be, yeah. But again,
also a little bit more saturation on the sub bass, you know, like adding high frequency. So like LUFs are, I think Percy said this lots of times, but just in case, I love saying it again. LUFs are high frequency bias. So like ways that you can add higher frequency content into sounds is how you will make it feel louder. You know, like our ears are very sensitive. LUFs are all based on how we perceive loudness, and perceived loudness comes from higher frequencies. So yeah. And this is true. Poyo's right. But I think this is where referencing helps, right? Like pick a reference. Like I reference stupidly loud songs, like the Dexamp album recently that came out on Halcyon. That's what I've been referencing recently. And like all of his tracks are hitting -2 LUFs. So that's why I'm trying to get to that like -2 LUF.
Cube.
Yeah, but Cube's not even that loud, but it's a banger.
The rat track is pretty loud though.
Yeah, Grass Rat is like -4, -5. But yeah, the idea here is if you have a reference, then you know what you want, right? But until you have a reference, in my opinion, it's hard to objectively make decisions. You're kind of still going to have to be forced to emotionally decide on what you want. But if you have a reference track, you can be like, I want my music to sound like this. I can now logically approach that. I can look at like what instruments they have that are louder than mine. And yeah, that kind of stuff I think is the better way to approach mixing and mastering. But anyway, fucking crazy ass song. You should have been there, Dino.
So I just want to point out, guys, that we spent as long of a time talking about his one question, getting in depth, trying to figure out solutions to this one problem, than we did on some of your guys' whole tracks.
Yeah.
I just want to throw that out there.
But
So
I mean, hopefully we
yeah.
answered his question. Hopefully that helps you.
I'm not entirely sure that we did.
Well,
But
I think
we
so.
tried.
I mean, honestly, not limiting is like a really important thing. Focus more on clipping. Clipping is the way, my guy. Clipping is like all you need is clippers. Also, I'm interested by the fact that he did the soft into hard clip. I've been doing that recently as well, and I don't know. I'm still not sold on it. I'm really not sold on it. Like, it's not bad, but it's not great. But like, I guess keep doing it if it doesn't fuck up your CPU. You know, like fuck it. You know, may as well. But yeah, thank you, Jinx. Thank you with your spicy track.
Yeah, that was a great track. I know I gave the disclaimer if I'm not going to pay attention to the sample selection, the arrangement, or anything else, but I wouldn't have had anything to say about it anyway. It was nice.
Hell yeah. Yeah, resampling as well. Poyo's fucking sound design is nuts. Sound design's half the battle, honestly. Because if your sound sounds loud, then it'll be easier to make loud in the mix. But anyway, next up we got that Mulo remix. I think this is the last track, right? Yeah, this is just that picture from earlier. So this is our last one of the night, lads.
It is not. We have one more.
Oh, I'm a bit not hip. Okay, sorry. False alarm. False alarm. There's actually 2 tracks left. Oh,
is there?
Just kidding.
I only have one.
Just kidding.
After this, okay.
Well, no, I mean 2, including this one. But the track link that is in there is not functional. So if you're down to DM me that, Enki, just DM me that track.
Oh, it's Enki. Yeah. I was gonna say because I have the other one. I have the other one open.
Oh yeah, I have that one open too. Just DM me. DM me that song. That way I can open it. You gotta click share and then gotta send me that link. Anyway, let's get it.
Yo, I don't really have a second drop. It's kind of bad. Really bad. Imagine you've just had like you just heard the best drop you've ever heard in your life. You're crying right now. Okay, thank you, goodbye.
Yeah, I want to hear that live at like a show. Honestly,
Yeah, that's definitely
that would be
that's
crazy.
definitely it. All right, I want to preface this by saying I think Homie is like 15 or 16 years old and has been producing for 3 to 6 months. I'm just gonna throw that out there for the peanut gallery to know. Okay.
Yeah, this dude is a sponge with knowledge. I feel like he just
Yeah,
immediately learns
Yeah,
everything.
I was doing some one-on-one with him earlier, and he was picking up the concepts like this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this dude's nuts.
okay, is the first drop good in your opinion?
I mean, what is good, right?
Yeah. um.
What like here's a
For
question. Here's a question I'm going to ask you, Dino.
yeah.
What do you think is like the goal here, right? Like what is the goal of good in Tristan's mind right now? Cuz I feel like
I
he's
think
actually kind of flexing.
for 6 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 6 months he's flexing hard. Would I push it? Would large father push this? No.
No, yeah, no, I feel you. But
Um, is it good for where he's at in his producing journey? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like I want to hold on to this kid. It's January 31st right now. I want him to save this link and I want to show it to him. If he sticks around and he's in our chats 2 to 3 times a week for 2 to 3 hours every week. Like every time he's in there. Like he was earlier today and like he has been for the past 2 weeks. Like I just want to A/B for him between what he's going to sound like now and what he's going to sound like in on December 31st, essentially. Although I'll probably be at a show on December 31st. Anyway, yeah, no, I mean it's for where he's at in his production journey. It's good enough. You know, this is like something to be proud of for 6 months producing, for sure, for sure. If he were producing for 6 years, I would be a lot more critical. Like Poyo said in his comment on there, like took me 6 years to get something decent. For sure. For sure. I almost want to send you guys like I think I might have deleted my first
man, I'm jealous. I have all my stuff up from when I was a young lad and I am not going to share it right now, but maybe one day I will. Maybe one day when I'm feeling silly enough. But it is nowhere near this good.
Let me see if the Big Daddy Dino tracks are on here still.
My 6 months is like not even holding a candle to this guy's 6 months. But anyway, I'll give my opinion because he asked in my opinion, is it good? It's not bad. I think the thing that I'm missing most is some level of kind of continuity. I guess like I don't know if I like the Jersey drop. I think that's kind of what's throwing me off. I would reference tracks that do like switch into like the Jersey drops and see how they like switch into them because I feel like it's not like jarring enough. You know what I mean? Like I feel like those kinds of tracks have these like weird kind of like total switches that go off. And yeah, no, I just think that like that is something that threw me off personally. But I also think that those chord stacks could be fuller. That's something that I don't think is too difficult to figure out and could really benefit this track. And fuller doesn't always mean like just adding another one on top of it. It means like changing up the wave shapes. It means like adjusting the timbral quality of each of the super saws to be like slightly different from one another so that they like fill up certain areas of the obviously like frequency spectrum, but also the stereo image. Yeah, there's a lot of good videos on that. I would look up like, I don't know, how to 7 Lions super saw tutorial or something on YouTube, and I'm sure you'll find like a bunch of stuff that will help you. But yeah, those are kind of those are my 2 cents. What about you, Dino? What are your thoughts?
Are we on question 2? Is the mix generally good?
Well, no, I mean, did you have anything you want to add into like the first drop good? Like, is there anything specifically in the first drop that you were like really not happy with? Like,
Yeah,
it
I
was
was
like
quiet.
it was quiet. That was your
Yeah.
biggest
Also,
negative.
also the kick was squaring the whole thing.
True. I feel like the kick is like it's weird. It's
Yeah,
like
it was causing the track to square out, which
I think
square
for
waves
me
are
it's
both good and bad.
I don't know if this is the case for you, Dino, but for me this is like a sample selection thing. I just don't know if like the sample.
That takes such a long time to get figured out, though.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The
Like,
sample itself, I feel like you should get some good drums. And I think I was talking about this earlier with Tristan, but if you get some spot, because right now I'll spill the beans. He was using some cymatics kicks, which aren't necessarily bad, but I feel like for the style of music that he is making here, I think you could benefit from getting some more transient present, some more full spectrum kicks, as I like to call them. Just because like it'll immediately make these kind of tracks hit a lot harder. Oh, Poyo uses cymatics kicks all the time. Yeah, but I'm sure that you process them a lot differently. They're not like ready to go. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But anyway.
So just for reference, before we get started, Brad, I sent you a track that I was 3 years in at this point. Okay, if you click that and you just jump to about 230, jump to 230.
Yeah, dude. I don't even want to share mine.
This is 3 years in. So the fact that he's where he's at in a few months is pretty good. But also information is way more available. DAWs are way more powerful.
I
nowadays.
won't go 3 years. That's like a little bit too embarrassing.
13 years ago. Yeah, boy, I've been doing this for a minute, bud.
I'll go like 6 years in, because then I won't be so embarrassed that I want to like cry and hide somewhere. But
so it takes a long time to get, anywhere.
Yeah, like this is what I used to make. Here we go. Okay. But yeah, anyway. So, God, I can't believe that I was like, that was like 4 or 5 years in minimum. And it's still that bad. Minimum, probably more.
I can't remember
Anyway.
what fucking email I used for my SoundCloud, for my actual SoundCloud, for the baked potato. Fuck. I might be fucked now.
About to rob a nightclub type beat. I'm sorry. That one had me laughing. Fuck. We love you, Poyo. Yeah, Enki, you gotta send me the right thing still. I don't know if I've got it yet. He might not be here, which would be a tragedy.
I don't think he is. I DM'd him on Discord though. So
Okay.
if he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he doesn't.
We'll wait a few minutes.
Is this it? Better fucking be it.
You were locked in with the Monster Cat crew? That's pretty hype, because I used to hang out a lot with the Monster Cat gang members as well back in the day. Did you ever play on their Minecraft server? Were you ever one of those gang members? Or did you play League of Legends with any of them? Because that's what I did. I would play League of Legends with them. And
I played a few games with Delta Heavy, if you know who that is.
Yeah.
Back in like 2011, 2012, whenever League was like fresh and not so shitty. Although that was like 3 years into it too. Anyway, yeah. So my stuff from when I was 3 years in was, and I intentionally sent that track. That one's hilariously bad. I have some not so bad ones, but like, yeah. And I intentionally didn't delete those off of my SoundCloud. They're all private and hidden, of course. But like, yeah.
Yeah, on God, that time of my life was when I pretty much decided I was going to do music for the rest of my life, because I was playing with was it Tristram, Afixa, and Going Quantum, and we would all like hang out for quite some time playing Minecraft
It
and League
looks
of
like
Legends. And
Poyo has also played with Delta Heavy.
we may have
That
played
checks
together,
out.
to be honest. Oh well,
Yeah. Heartsuck Bronze for life.
there we go. For life.
Anyway.
Oh no, oh no. Hey, at least it's not
Hey,
iron.
I peaked top 2% of players in TFT though. Okay, so I'm really good at rolling them fucking dice.
Yeah, but no, yeah. Long story short, though, you can never stop growing, and I think it takes some people a lot less time to get to like what I would say is like a good area in their growth. And in others, the time differences between each person varies, but yeah, I'm sometimes jealous of not jealous, but I'm shook, because literally people like this situation is one of those things where like to get to this stage for me took like
Years.
and it took this
But
dude
again, at the
less than
same
a year.
time, Magdo, when you and I were starting out, stuff was gate kept.
Yeah,
It
no one
wasn't,
knew what
like,
the fuck they were doing.
it's like,
Yeah, it's true.
so I'm thinking about buying a 303, right? I told you this earlier. I'm gonna tell the chat now too. And it's like the 303 became popular because bassists bought them. They didn't like them. They sold them to pawn shops, and then house heads went into pawn shops and bought them with no user manual and no like internet documentation, and they fucking figured that shit out. And from what I understand, the 303 sequencer is like the most cancerous thing to have ever existed. Like, it's a huge pain in the ass to use. And like, yeah.
I forgot about Heroes of New Earth, Poyo, until just
Right.
this is like the first
Yeah.
time I've seen that be spoken of in fucking ever. Probably since it was like since you were playing it, probably.
Right.
Sorry.
And then also there's a lot of people like Magdu and myself who've been doing this for damn near as long as old boy's even been alive, right? Like, I think he's a year older than I think I've been producing longer than Tristan's been on this earth. So
Yeah, same. Maybe no, you
he's
had me beat.
16 and
You had me beat.
he's 16 and I started in like 2007. I was in the 7th grade when I got my first copy of FL Studio, when I borrowed my first copy of FL Studio, and then my license keys registered from 2009.
Yeah, he probably
So,
he probably was a year old when I started, maybe a little older.
But my point is like, you and I are around, and we are freely wanting to share information as far as like DAW agnostic stuff, FL stuff, Ableton stuff. You fuck around with Bitwig a bit, like, and we're not the only ones, because we had to fucking scratch and claw our way up to the top. And like, it sucks. It was a long, hard.
Are we gonna be those guys that are like, when I was your age, I had to go, and when I was walking to school, I walked uphill both directions. Yeah,
in the snow with fucking no feet on broken glass, or no shoes.
But except for us, it's like, when I was your age, I was scouring the internet and couldn't find shit.
Let's put it this way. I was there before Serum.
Oh shit. Yeah, when Massive was all we had.
Bro, I was there before fucking Massive.
I wasn't there before. Actually, that's not true. I was kind of. I was.
If you guys can hold on for just 1 second, I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab you a fucking relic of the past. 1 second.
That's fine. In the meantime, I'll serenade this wonderful chat with kind of all right piano playing. You know, for whoever's still out there. Plus, I haven't played into these headphones yet. They're pretty good. Is he still not back yet? He's still not back yet. You guys, what the fuck? He's still not back yet. That's okay. I'll just show off my MIDI quantizer rack because I can only play in C.
All right, I couldn't find it. It's somewhere around here though. I was gonna go grab my physical copies of my massive user manuals.
Oh.
Yeah, I have them around here somewhere. Anyway, are we done for the night? I never got a message back from Anki. I don't think you did either.
I didn't either. I'm just over here lulling the rest of these kids who are still awake to sleep, you know?
All right, well, I'm gonna find myself in the VC right now for a little bit, working on that tech. I think you probably seem to be really enjoying those headphones, though.
They're so nice, dude.
Right?
I didn't know planar magnetic headphones were so good, but they are. Oh, no. Man, you know what sucks? You get used to playing on a weighted keyboard, and then you don't play on a weighted keyboard.
Yeah.
And it just fucking sucks.
I don't think yours is weighted. I think yours has actual hammer keys in it.
Oh, what? This one does?
Yeah.
Well, all I can say is the difference is quite massive. And I don't mean that in a joking way because Massive was made by Contact or Native Instruments, but I mean it in the way that it is big, you know? Cuz like
Yours is the Mark II, right?
yes.
Yeah, yours has full hammers. That's why they're so heavy. I mean, it's fucking halfway to a Rhodes. But anyway, I think it might be a. Yeah, Anki, yes. Send it to Magnet. Be quick.
Oh my god.
You're lucky we're still
he's
here.
He's here. Carmen's upset too. You're upsetting my
Yeah,
girlfriend.
I know.
Let's see. Posted public. Where is he sending it?
I don't know.
DM it to me or Dino. Wait, you DM'd him, right? Yeah, send it to Dino. Yeah, send it to Dino if that's easier. Or if you could just find me in the Flock Flip stream feedback chat. Just click on my name.
Not hard. He's always in the announcements.
Oh, that too. I'm all over the place.
I think you're the only person in the announcements. And I might as well just say it now. I will do a short little something on phase alignment once we're done here in the Flock Flip in the stream VC.
Yes. So if you do want to learn about phase alignment, Dino will be in there. And phase alignment's super important. It's what allows you to like basically make your low end feel impactful, past just all the usual stuff like sample selection, mixing, mastering, arrangement. Past all of the sidechain, there's like a whole nother level past that, which is phase aligning.
It 100% bypass the sidechaining though. Like it's almost pointless to phase align if you're gonna, or sidechain if you're gonna phase align. They're
That's half true, but you're right.
Yeah.
For the most part, you're right.
They don't really go together.
Did he send it?
Nope.
Send it, brother. Send it. Alright, I'll do one more. I'll do one more key for like 2 more minutes. And then if we don't get anything, I think it'll be time for us to go to Betty Boo. To Betty Bye. Where all the adults, that's where all the adults go. Past 12 o'clock.
All the responsible ones.
Yeah, that's me.
Magno, what are you using for your roads?
The old lounge lizard. Yes, sir. And I don't even have the full one, but I've had this session one for a while, and I just forgot that I had it. I got it, I think, in a bundle with Object Delay, if you ever heard of that, from Applied Acoustics. They're like this dope company. Before I had Ableton and I didn't have Corpus, this company was the only place you could buy something that's similar to Corpus, which is a great tool, by the way. In fact, I will show you the plugin that I'm talking about, because it's actually a fucking really cool plugin. Check. There it is. There she blows.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I guess this is like the default. Maybe I should probably try something else. Ghost notes. Turn off the reverb, maybe. Do a little bit of exploration here. Anyway, yep. All right, I guess we're going to bed. Thank you all for sticking around. It was fun hanging out. You guys are awesome. Oh, wait. He said okay in here or Discord. Brother, please. Please, brother. Brother in Christ. Amen.
Can we have some oats though, brother?
Brother, can we have some oats? Yeah, that's a good one, actually. I fuck with that. Ooh, okay. We're going somewhere different now. This one's so silly. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Do you have a? Does your lounge lizard have retrigger mode?
No. Where would that be? I don't think so.
It'd be on the envelopes.
No, I don't have access to any of that. Feels bad, man.
Because there's something sweet you can do if you have retrigger mode.
Yeah, I only have like the really basic one that came with like the pack. They have like a whole full version, but I don't have that. Should probably get it at some point though, but I'm not spending money on music shit. I got these nice ass headphones. You know what I'm saying?
That's really cool, Ian. What would be nice is if we could get the track though.
Was just the DD for a bit with this shit playing on my car speakers. It was chill. Oh well.
I wouldn't know.
Neither would I. Yeah, maybe I need more. Maybe I need some not so chill sounds. I know what to do. I know what to do here. All right, you guys, it's not time to wake up yet or to go to sleep yet. We have to wake up first.
Is your automaton fucking? Oh, he said he sent it to you. He sent it to you.
It's all right. He did send it. I see it.
What are the questions?
If you were asleep, you're awake now. All right. No questions. Uh-oh. This is not.
No, there's
He
questions.
does have questions. They're in the Discord, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm sending them. I'm sending them.
Thank
right
you,
now.
good sir. Thank you. All right. Here we go. The last track of the night. Here we go.
Girl Scout meetings to eat the brownies.
All right, I'm gonna crack us off. The pre-drop vocal is fine. Girl Scout cookies, perfect. Go ahead, sir.
I think I see why he's asking that, because like you kind of need like more pre-drop vocals, but what you have so far is great. So I would say just like something along that, like something along that line, you know. Maybe try and hint at the fact that you're about to eat all of the cookies. Be
Brownies.
Like, man, I'm
yeah.
so hungry right now, and I don't have any money on me or something. Or
Might as well show up to the Girl Scout meeting and eat all the motherfucking brownies.
Yeah. I'd be like, fuck, I shouldn't have ate that edible earlier. Or I don't know.
What's everyone's favorite Girl Scout cookie? Let's hear it. Let's hear it, chat.
Thin Mints, are you kidding me?
I was gonna say the moms.
Oh, the moms. Oh, yeah, that's funny.
Okay. All right. I've never really made music this loud before. Should I attenuate the high end a lot? I don't know. Magda has it turned down for me. I'm not allowed to hear the full fat track, I guess. No, he's got it turned down for everyone. I don't think the high end was too harsh. I really like the disharmonic or enharmonic detuning on the main bass though. That was nice. I would actually lean into that a little more. So yeah.
I would say there's a little bit of muddiness in the high end.
Yeah, there's high end build up is there.
But like, it's one of those things where you could probably fix it with like an EQ. Like just boost more of the actual highs and then cut like whatever that is. What is that like?
Mid side could probably go a long way here.
Yeah, it's not like bad. It's like pretty subtle, but I would say like and this is on your mid basses I'm talking about here. Mainly, I think. The hi-hats are fine and all that's fine. I think it's just the mid bass you could go like just a. And this is because I was told earlier that my shit wasn't even loud enough in the highs. So like, yeah, I'm trying to trust that. The big thing that I think, I guess this is the next question, so never mind. I was gonna, I guess, brush up on the next question is where I was going with
What
this.
stereo in the bass?
It's not even just that. Like, yes, you could high pass the
too
side.
much bass, not rolled off.
It's one of those things where like I'm a low mid hater, so I'm gonna get hate, right? Like I'm gonna get fucking. I get hate for being a hater, but
You're not alone.
I really feel like you could. This song would go harder if you had like that nice room between your sub and the rest of your mid basses. You know, like make sure that sub
Stay
is
with me, guys.
fucking.
Frequency separation.
Yeah, and cut the what is it? Cut the second harmonic. Yeah, it's like. Here's the thing about like making something impactful. So if you have a fundamental, in this case your sub, and then you have a harmonic that's right next to that fundamental, what's going to happen is your sub, or the fundamental in this case, is not going to feel as powerful as it could. So like because they're both at like the same level and they're right next to each other, they're both kind of like stealing energy from one another. But if you remove the second harmonic and make sure that that fundamental is kind of like on its own a little bit, what ends up happening is your brain, body, mind, soul, maybe even, is going to pay more attention to it, which makes it more exciting and impactful and feel better. So, yeah. So like what I would do is just, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like even just an EQ after all of that is better than not, you know? I mean, I'm going to pull up the picture because I guess I haven't, I tried to pull it up earlier, but it was the wrong time. But, I don't know if you're looking or not. Don't look if you're driving. Just rewatch this part when you get home. But
Yes.
yeah, you really
The
need to
Harmon curve. Yeah.
yeah, you really need to make sure you have this kind of like dip. I mean, you don't need to, right? I guess anyone can make music however they want. But if you want your basses to feel like they're really fucking just punching people, you need to make sure that you have this kind of space in between your true fundamental sub and the rest of your mid range. And these numbers are a little bit incorrect, but the idea here is you want your fundamental in your sub to be standing strong on its own and not have a lot of stuff fighting with it. And by a lot of stuff, I mean the second harmonic, sometimes even harmonics above that. You can get more aggressive with that reduction of low mids to get it even more impactful and punchy. But the reason why is, yeah, it's going to just take energy away if you don't, from the sub rather. And the sub needs to hit too, right? Like it's bass music. I want the sub to slap as well, you know? Everything must slap. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that third question. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, roll off under 30, get rid of the side, and kill some second harmonic. I mean, that's all there really is to say about sub. It's a very no brain approach to getting your sub right, I think.
And
then,
honestly,
like,
yeah, we're gonna say keep going.
The more you try and complicate it, the more convoluted it becomes. Then the more drowned out and muddy it becomes. Like sub it should be very basic. It's a sine or a squared sine or a folded over sine. Just in the low end with like make sure it's just really like in a perfect world it's just like that one hump, no harmonics. That's it.
And even more perfect, it's just a sine wave.
Yeah, just a sine.
But,
one hump, no harmonics.
But once again, that sometimes gets boring because everyone does that. So like the thing here is like just enough fucked up nonsense going on so that it sounds different than anyone else's, but not so much fucked up nonsense going on that it doesn't sound good. That's basically the game we're playing here, gang. And yeah, Jess, that's kind of the vibe. It's creating contrast by, you know, not having. You need to have like room in the frequencies to like create impactfulness, because like if you don't have any room there, then it's just everything stealing energy from everything else and it becomes this muddy feeling. That's probably the feeling that I would describe low mid issues as mud.
I mean, that's why they call it mud, right?
Yeah,
Mud
sound
region.
like Crisco.
Yeah.
Would it kind of depend on the key, maybe, perhaps? Like a song in G and in a song in D, the cutoff for the sub would be different. I think if the song
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where you roll off would be different, yeah.
Yeah. And this is
but
why
for the most part, there's no usable information below 30, is from what I've been told, and from like looking at specs of subs and like all that kind of stuff, like there's no point in having that down there.
I agree. And yeah, I think the big thing here is like all of this should be determined by your ears or maybe your body if it's the sub. But the point that I'm trying to make here is like, depending on the track, that's where you're going to have to, like, the track will always determine where your high pass and low passes will be, but you should like listen, you know, and then it makes it really easy. You're just like, oh, my mid bass sounds really clear when I move the high pass up to this point. And then it's like super not that difficult. You just do that, but you do have to do that in order to get that cleanliness in the low frequencies. So yeah.
Alrighty, gentlemen, I do believe it is that time of the night. I will see you all next week, and remember, Feef is forever. Sub bases are for always. And every Thursday and Sunday at 9 o'clock Eastern is what?
The block flip. Oh, and this was probably the least fast, least Feef that we've done. Well, it was 2 Feef actually. It was too slow 2 Feef, not fast 2 Feef.
I don't know. I feel like the gang is getting better with asking questions.
Yeah, Jinx
Yeah,
fucking flexed, dude. Where is it?
yeah. If
This
you
is
guys are
literally the
looking
most
for
fucking-
pointers on how to ask questions, go talk to Jinx.
This dude literally, I know he's gonna level up. I'm excited about that. Everyone is obviously, but this fucker is Jesus. Got to watch out for him. Leave some fucking pussy for the rest of us. What does it say? Talk. Oh,
Talk phase
phase.
alignment
Yes.
post stream.
Yes. So
So I will be in the VC talking about phase alignment for you boys. I already set up the project file while Maggot was playing piano.
thank goodness. So yeah, if anyone wants to learn about phase alignment, Dino will teach you. And I would recommend checking that shit out because phase alignment is fucking. It feels good. All right. He actually showed me how to do it in what was it? What was the genre? It was
Psytrance.
Yeah, psytrance.
But then you just press the button on M auto phase.
Yeah, that's kind of like the workaround. But I think that the way that you're teaching it is better because then you don't need that. You know, you can just learn how to do it. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure M auto phase is.
it's so
it can
good.
probably shift your stuff a little bit more than you want to shift it.
Well, you can decide that too. But you're right. You're right. It's you're playing with fire. You know, you got to fucking make sure you don't burn down the whole state of California.
I take direct offense to that statement.
I'm sorry. Anyway, love you guys. We're gonna piece it. Good night.
Alrighty.